Hello and welcome to Is This England, a show where we talk about old England games and ask just how England was this.
We're on the highway to the World Cup 2022, so we're heading back to 2016 to cover the last time England and Wales went head-to-head at an international tournament. It's Euro 2016, where Hodgson's England tackle Coleman's Wales to see who truly is the proudest and most passionate nation.
Time can do. Baby, you mean everything to me.
Well,
Who is it?
I didn't have anything else to say. I've said it all already.
You have, and you said it so well as well.
Thank you. Yeah, 2016, Euro 2016, the Hodgson era, and a little throwback that resembles what the future may look like, because in about 5 weeks' time, we'll be playing Wales again in an international tournament.
We will indeed. It's come round again, hasn't it? Was it 8? It'll be 8 years now in between the two games. And you just think it hadn't happened for
it's
so
6.
long.
It's 6.
Yes, it is 6. Sorry, yeah,
yes. I'm 2 years younger. Yeah, it feels like this really does feel like a lifetime ago. But yeah, it's going to be just around the corner again, and we'll get into all of that shortly. Before we do, if you can give the show a 5-star rating on any of the platforms that you listen to on, that'd be amazing. Get in touch with the show at isthisenglandpod@gmail.com and follow us on social media at isvis_England. That's done. And also, it should be live by now. Tickets should be on sale unless they've already sold out, which they might.
Yep,
which they might have by now.
Eyebrows are up on that one.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
For our live show at Whip in Lichfield on November the 19th, featuring an England quiz, a World Cup preview, and a classic game review. It's coming together quite nicely. Wink, wink, wink. Done no prep.
Still not you there yet, but yeah, we've got time. We've got time now. We know the game we're going to do. It's going to be very exciting, but you're going to have to come out along on the night to find out.
Yeah, it could be a nice round off for the year for us before the World Cup kicks into gear. But let's have a look back to the worst year in human history now, because we have to do our time capsule for the year of 2016. It did all go to shit.
It's just abysmal, isn't it, this year?
All kick-started, really, with your time capsule entry.
I know, yeah. Well, it's kind of around that, isn't it? Yeah, this was the start. It's the high and the low point in a lot of ways. It was... yeah, what I'm putting in is the death of David Bowie / his album Black Star.
Yes, yes.
So David Bowie released his album Black Star on the 8th of January 2016, on his 69th birthday. Sadly, it would be his last album, as he'd pass away 2 days later on the 10th of January following his private battle with cancer.
God.
It was... Do you remember where you were? Or I mean, obviously, it was overnight. Yeah. I think it broke, maybe.
Yeah, it was definitely something that I heard in the morning, kind of in bed on my phone, scrolling through the news.
Yeah.
I think I had the day off. I think it may have been a Monday, and I had worked over the weekend and then had the Monday off in lieu. And yeah, just thinking, well, I best turn the radio on today then, because you're not going to be able to move for David Bowie shows. I had a text from a friend at the time saying, wake, basically meaning, do you want to come over to mine and listen to David Bowie all day? which was nice.
Yeah, that sounds really good. It's the best way to do it, probably.
Do you remember where you were?
Again, I'd kind of woken up and had to go to work in the morning and was just doom scrolling really on the phone, just trying to like understand it all and what had happened.
Before Doom was really Doom. Little did we know.
This was early Doom, this was. And yeah, I remember my partner hadn't got up yet and I was just leaving the house and I just was like, I'm not going to tell her. Because like it was nicer that she still lived in a world where David Bowie was around and doing interesting stuff. Rather than the horrible world that I just entered. And I remember walking to work. It was only like a 10-minute walk from my flat to where I worked at the time. And actually, I just was listening to David Bowie and walking around going, I wonder if everyone else is doing this as well.
Yeah.
Kind of looking at everywhere else. I'm just thinking, yeah, this is at least something there and a celebration. I think I listened to Starman quite a lot at that time as well, which was quite fitting as well.
Yeah, I hadn't gotten into David Bowie early. Definitely not early, but by this time, by 2016, I'd definitely been listening to him for a few years, and I'd gone through his back catalogue. And I really liked the album prior to Black Star, which was called, can we remember?
I can't actually.
No.
Something about the world.
Something about the World Cup.
Yeah, he was another one of the.
It was the Heroes cover.
Yes,
which had been like covered up or something like that. I'm gonna find what it was called. Final Years. The Next Day it was called.
The Next Day,
and that was a great song. And that was a great album because it was unashamedly referencing his past. It was like a greatest hits album of new songs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and he was, like you say, he kept referencing old stuff as well, and it's something he did on this one as well. And it wasn't one I listened to straight away when it came out. I was like, oh, David Bowie's done an album. That's interesting. I'll get around to that one day.
I'd listened to Black Star on the day it had come out.
Okay.
At the same friends who text me saying Wake.
Okay.
And they weren't too keen from memory. I think they were gone. It's a bit jazzy, a bit like. Where's the classic stuff? But I was like, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect these crazy drum beats and mad sax solos.
10-minute opening song.
And just, it really sounded like it was pushing boundaries, like truly, not just like, oh, for an old man, he's trying and he's gone outside of his box. I was like, this is up there with any of the modern edgy music, and it's not electronic. So it's like real instruments being pushed to their boundaries. And there were still catchy bits in it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of really good hooks and really good like songs. They were just played in an interesting way, and then sometimes they'd go full on experimental, and that was great. So I was very much impressed. I was like, this might be one of my favourite albums of his straight away.
I think for me, I always liked his music, and I kind of got into him after he passed away. But I think this is an album of his, maybe the only one that I've gone through that I will put on and it will just have it on loop, and I'll listen to it from back to front. Maybe Hunky Dory probably is up there too, but this one for me, it's just so different, and like you say, pushing boundaries. Like you say, some of the catchy bits that just get stuck in your head are quite stupid, like the song Sue. I get that in my head all the while because his voice is so kind of delicate and wobbly, and it just kind of kicks off in the middle of it too.
I think The Next Day was his first album in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then that was followed up by this one like 3 years later. And rather than, which we'll get into, is like the somber and the sort of symbolism about death throughout it, because obviously, as we said, he'd die a couple of days after Black Star came out. I felt more like, okay, he'll probably do another album next year now.
Yeah.
Because there's no way this is somebody who's like phoning it in and just pushing one more album out. This is obviously somebody who's really creatively inspired, and I wouldn't have been surprised if he went, here's another album like the same year, even.
Almost like it was a concept of the idea of dying instead of him actually dying, which is what this was.
But the first time I'd heard it, I'd know, obviously, he was going to die. It sounded alive. That's the most, like, as I don't mean that in its most basic form. It sounded alive, but it was so full of life and energy, and like you wouldn't imagine that somebody who was dying would do an album that really pushed boundaries and made you feel quite uncomfortable at times. Because surely the only thing you want is comfort at that time, and maybe to think about the past. Yeah, which is what The Next Day was in some things as well. So
yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it? And like I say, it's got lots of different meanings. Like if you look at certain versions of the album, like the physical release, there's different colours as that. And apparently even Bowie didn't know all the secrets of the artwork of the album as well himself.
Yeah,
I mean, he wanted to work with different artists. I think there was a documentary that came out about the making of this as well.
Yeah.
And just found that so interesting, and everyone was kind of sworn to secrecy about it, and it was widely known kind of amongst some of the artists that they talked to that he was passing away. This would be his last kind of mark on the earth. So amazing. It was like 2 days later when it came out. Like, I can't...
And he did music videos for it as well.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a stage play about this that came out the previous year as well, Lazarus, that came out too. And it's just like, wow, you thought of everything, really.
Yeah. And his death... and all the symbolism and the amazing art around it, it does kind of make it stand for something more, and it just adds that to that mystery around him. It's like, wow, he really did just turn up, entertain the world, and then go.
Yeah.
But also in the years since, you've seen more of, I guess it was kind of always there, but like the human side and the real side and the down-to-earth side to him as well, which makes it slightly more tragic that, it's not just an artist, it's just a really nice and good person. I always kind of say, like, if you could put up one example of like a British person that you would want the world to see what Britain has done,
Yeah.
like, or what it's capable of at its best, I would say somebody like David Bowie, who's just like so creative and down to earth and
kind of open-minded as well to
Open-minded,
things.
yeah.
I mean, I recently watched the documentary about him, Moon Age Daydream, and that kind of goes through with periods when he's like, oh, I'm not really, you know, I need to be pushing boundaries. If I'm not, I'm failing and all this stuff. But then he'll kind of go through phases where I go, you know what, I'm just an entertainer. I need to just go out there and make people happy with my songs. And then like the next interview was like, I fucking hate all this. It's just terrible. I need to push boundaries, and
yeah.
never quite happy with himself, what he wants to do either.
I kind of reflected in those last two albums as well, though. Even though they're both amazing, The Next Day is kind of not pushing boundaries, and Black Star is.
Yeah, strange way round.
Lovely one too to leave us with. Should we move on, because we could talk about it all day, I'm sure.
I know, yeah.
My time capsule entry for the year of 2016 is Hamilton.
Lewis.
Lewis Hamilton. Actually, no, it's not. It's the inauguration of Donald Trump. That's mine. Yeah, Hamilton received the 2016 Pulitzer Prize for drama. I think, if I'm trying to think of people who may listen to this and may not have heard of it, how to describe it, I guess.
Well, I'm a lay person to Hamilton. I know of it.
Yeah.
I know your man who does it and all that kind of stuff. And but I don't really. I know bits about it, and it's just something I've just been like, oh, too hard to get into. Can't look at it.
So it's basically a rap musical, which I think, guessing by how much people focus on that, is rarer than you'd think.
Yeah, yeah,
Because one, it does seem strange, but then two, you'd have thought, I guess it must have been done by now.
yeah.
But it is more than that. You know, the rapping side of it is maybe about 50%. There's some of your standard kind of show style tunes in there as well. Some really good singing. Composed, written by actor Lin-Manuel Miranda. Composed over a 7-year period between 2008 to 2015. It tells the story of American founding father Alexander Hamilton. Miranda was inspired to write the musical after reading a biography called Alexander Hamilton, written by Ron Chernow. I think originally he just saw it as an album, and then over time it became more and more of a production. I'm sure I've read there's a song on there called My Shot, which is like the third or fourth song on the production, and I think that was the first one he wrote, and I think he said it took him 2 years to write that one song.
Wow.
There's a lot in it. There's a lot in it. It goes all over the place. But I guess let's talk about my experience of it and why I would put it in there, because there's too much like cultural stuff and everything like that that I'm not 100% familiar on in regard to the actual Hamilton himself and the impact of the thingy, because it's such a diverse cast and what have you, and it's been held up as quite like a great example of art for this century, I guess. Over lockdown, Disney Plus released a professionally recorded video version filmed on Broadway, and I was like, I think it'd be cringe, but let's let's watch a bit of it on a Friday night. Pretend we're going to the theatre because we haven't left the house for ages, and I was ready for a bit of cringe, and then that was in the day leading up to it, because I knew I was going to watch it of the night, and then I was sitting there. I'd cracked open the beer. We were ready to go, and Jen was like, it'll be a laugh on it anyway, if nothing else. You know, it might be good, and I just started thinking, I reckon it's going to be absolutely brilliant, actually, like in the minutes before I pressed play, and I was like, I just got into that mindset where I was like, I'm ready to be blown away now. Yeah. And I was basically flipping, I don't mind saying this, I'm big enough man to admit, so I was basically almost in tears from like the first song, just because of the sheer beautifulness of seeing that people can come together and make something so incredible. Yeah. Like the lyrics seem to mean so much. I was no idea of the story. The dancing was amazing. The stage set was beautiful. The song was incredible. It was new. It was different. It wasn't just like another stage show. And it was just like I was like, I can't believe the power of humanity, that people can get together and make something so incredible. And then the story takes you on a way where you'll end up shedding some tears anyway. Then you'll end up downloading the on Apple Music the album and rinsing it. I've rinsed the living shit out of that album ever since.
Most played forever.
Literally, it always is. I went to see it in London. I took Jen there for her 30th birthday. Nice present for me as well.
I was going to say there, you snuck in there too.
And I was you're trying not to cry and you just hold it in, and like my throat hurt afterwards because I've just been clenching my throat for like the whole thing. I was like, I can't, because there's quiet bits as well. I was like, they can't hear me crying. It's such an emotional story, and really genius. I'm trying to find, and I don't think I'm gonna, but it's held in some like American Museum of Culture basically, and it went like straight in there. You know what I mean? Straight in there, no hesitating, because I think it definitely was on the Obama's side of the leadership of the USA
of the year.
And I think that kind of says a lot as well. One thing to leave it with, I guess, is that the cast members got to perform sections from the musical at the White House in 2016. Some really good footage of that on YouTube as well. Is there anything you want to say on Hamilton?
Again, I don't really know much of it, but you've explained it very well to me, and it's on our island.
It is.
You can just get that out whenever you want now, and I'll sit through it. I'll sit through it with the beers, and I'll choke back the tears as well.
Yes, that's it. Let's move forward then. Two very strong time capsule entries there, and two very strong teams meeting in today's game. Why did we pick this game? England versus Wales. It's a group stage game at Euro 2016, Nick, but why are we covering it?
It was the last time that England and Wales played each other in a major tournament. It must be one of the only occasions they've done it as well so far. So we thought, well, let's have a look and have a good rummage around of what happened last time, why it happened, and what it meant.
Get ourselves ready for Qatar.
Oh, God, I'm already dreading this game because it's the last one, isn't it, of the group?
Everything needs to be... It's like a deadline or something at work. You're like, everything needs to be... I don't care. No, I don't care that they say that that's the deadline. Everything needs to be wrapped up by then because I'm going on holiday.
Yeah, points need to be in the bag by the time we do that. Those are the teams need to be put away to the sword because we just want a nice relaxing time when we get to the Wales game.
Oh, yeah. Let's have a look at the state of football then, and what a state of football it is. If you thought Hamilton and Black Star was impressive... Leicester City won the Premier League in 2016.
Quite incredible. Even when you look back now, we're all very familiar with it, but this still seems mental that it happened.
The most incredible thing in football I've ever seen. Just said it.
Maybe the biggest, most weird thing I've ever seen in sport.
Yeah.
It's like of an unexpected thing. It's a team sport and it's across, so many games and whatever. Any team can not any team, but a lot of teams can go and win a cup competition and knock a couple of teams out and get lucky along the way. But to do it over a 38-game season when all the other teams have got all the money and all the managers and all this kind of stuff and all the resources, and Leicester do it, and they kind of come from nowhere the previous season as well. It's really mad where they start from too.
We've discussed it very briefly on another episode when comparing it to another epic thing in sport. I think we were talking about something to do with Chelsea and Mourinho, but regardless...
Yeah.
Now's our time to talk about it in depth. So, as you mentioned, Leicester ended the previous season narrowly avoiding relegation after an incredible run of results towards the back end of the season. Heading into April, Leicester manager and part-time Wolf batterer Nigel Pearson had appeared to have been sacked by the club after winning only 4 league games all season. So it was the kind of, oh, has he been sacked, has he? I haven't seen it on Sky Sports, but someone's going, yeah, no, he has. He'll be on there in a minute or whatever.
Do you remember it being so weird? Like, I'm pretty sure Gary Lineker reported that he'd gone, and then it was like, all right, well, it's going to come out any minute, so let's just wait for it now, and it's just happened, and you kind of forgot about it, and then I think the next day it came out of like, no, he's not gone. I almost felt like he'd refused to be sacked almost.
Well, I mentioned it there because it was in the notes, but you call Nigel Pearson a part-time Wolf batterer there?
Yeah.
I don't. Why would he? Is it something to do with Wolves?
No. So he, I think the story was that he'd gone on holiday previously. Stuart Pearce told the story. He'd gone on holiday and he'd been attacked by wolves and he'd fought them off.
Yeah,
fought
them off.
Actual wolves. Watch that is.
No way. Yeah, I've just got a little article here actually. Stuart Pearce is talking about it. Every summer, he used to go away on his own on a walking holiday. One year, he went to Transylvania. Who goes to fucking Transylvania on holiday?
Hey, pre-COVID, we definitely got it because it's Romania. We'd got booked to go to Romania. I don't think it was quite Transylvania, but, it was Romania we were going to, so the same place.
That's mad. Literally goes to just the place people know for Dracula. Well, whatever. No, I shouldn't judge it like that, but it's just a weird on your own as well.
It's like every year.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going, is it that time of year? You're off to Transylvania soon, aren't you?
What's there? Nothing, I just walk.
He's going to have a fantastic time.
Oh, yeah. So it looked like he was sacked, But he kept his job and guided Leicester to 7 wins in their final 9 games of the season, allowing them to stay up by 6 points. Incredible that was.
Yeah.
That was one of the great relegation escapes.
Yeah, and like you say, to do it just by such a clear margin as well, 6 points. Like, I didn't even need the last 2 games essentially.
Yeah, 7 wins is a lot. An awful lot.
When you've only won 4 games in the
Yeah.
league all season, and you're going in with 7 out of the last 9, it was an incredible run, really. And
Has anyone really asked him about how he achieved that? Like, I'm sure they did to some extent, but it was the end of the season. They probably would have just been patting him on the back, and whatever. Yeah, and he's not one to really toot his own horn, I don't think.
no, or kind of mince
analyse-
his words either. Just so
Yeah.
he just kind of Didn't he say something about? Didn't he call someone an ostrich? I want to say in an interview.
He definitely called someone an ostrich in an interview.
Yeah.
And I think he's threatened to fight people a few times. It was no surprise, really, despite that end of the season uptick in form, to see him sacked.
Yeah, it was
Kind of is a surprise, though,
It was a
actually.
bit weird to kind of go, well, actually, you've stayed up and you've kept us up, and maybe we just don't want you around anymore. Maybe we'd like a lovely Italian man with beautiful glasses who is just going to be the nicest man in the world here. We want Claudio Ranieri.
Absolutely. Well, they may have wanted him, but that seemed like a very strange appointment.
I think he'd left. He'd been the Greece manager, and he'd left after like a year, I want to say, Claudio Ranieri. And it was a bit of a joke of like, oh, Ranieri's done, he's washed up. And then all of a sudden he lands at Leicester, and you go, really? Like, okay, that's good luck, Leicester.
That was Lineker's tweet, wasn't it, at the time? Claudio Ranieri? Really?
Yeah.
That was his famous tweet at the time of the appointment. Obviously, a year later, it would be a different story. But yeah, it seemed an odd one. Leicester made some signings in the summer of 2015, leading into the season. Kind of shrewd moves, including the signing of Christian Fuchs. I'm still not familiar with the pronunciation
Yeah,
of
that's
that.
right.
Robert Hoof, Shinji Okazaki, and N'Golo Kante. Kante signed for 5.6 million. Leicester started the season at 500 to 1 to win the league. They did get off to a flyer despite that with a 4-2 win over Sunderland. A lot of names I just said there, I've kind of forgotten about them. Like, you forget how good Okazaki was that season. He just kept coming on and scoring important goals. when it was
Changing
needed.
games, all
Yeah.
that. So, I mean,
Hoof, just an absolute warrior. And Fuchs was busy a left back.
he was a left back, yeah, as well. I mean, Huth as well. I think at the end of last season, wasn't he on like Instagram playing like knob or head or something, some mental game?
I don't know what knobblehead is.
Knob or head. It was
Oh.
basically, it was a picture of a knob or a head or a thumb or something, and you had to guess which one it was. And it was like, is this what people can see this, Robert? You know this, like,
No way.
and then the next year it's like, oh yeah, league winner.
Yeah. Leicester stayed undefeated for their opening 6 games, winning 3 of those, and were actually top of the table when Arsenal made their way to the King Power Stadium for a kind of early season big dog clash. Arsenal took them apart that day, winning 5-2. But if anything, they seemed to anger the Foxes, who won 8 of their next 10 games, including wins over Newcastle and Chelsea.
And that's Mourinho's Chelsea as well. They were the champions too.
Yeah, I mean, so what you're talking at this point, 16 games in, and they have been pretty good going and probably top or near the top.
Yeah, I think they were top around this time, and they were really gung-ho in the first half of the season, and they were helped by the emergence of the King Premier League bastard in Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
I mean, having scored a handful of goals the previous season, Vardy emerged as one of the league's most impressive players, along the way breaking Ruud van Nistelrooy's record of scoring in 11 consecutive games, and doing so against Manchester United on the 28th of November. So really sticking it in as well, like even breaking records. He's giving everyone the fingers up.
By November, it was like they are doing really well now. They're really good shape for the Champions League.
Yeah, they should aim for the Champions League. Wasn't the big thing of Ranieri just saying like 40 points? He kept saying 40 points so it get us there, didn't he?
Well, that's the survival thing.
Yeah,
though, isn't it? Yeah. Everyone was expecting Leicester to fall away after Christmas. I kind of know that I was. It just felt like that's the point, isn't it? When you get found out, even sort of during the Christmas period, Premier managers will say like that's when shit gets real, so to speak. And yeah, it seemed like it was going to go that way. They won only 1 in 5 games over December and January, but they came back to life with wins against Stoke and Liverpool at home, setting them up perfectly for their visit to Manchester City at the Etihad. This game was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember this, right? I'm thinking it's this game. Didn't Leicester go up like 3-0 up quite early.
They did indeed. Yeah, Robert Huth helped himself to 2 of the goals that day.
Robert Hoof with 2 of the goals.
Just incredible, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure they were ahead, like within a couple of minutes as well.
Yeah.
And Riyad Mahrez got one against his soon-to-be new employers in a couple of years too.
Forgot about Mahrez.
Yeah. Again,
He was good.
He was just there as well, and yeah, incredible. Mahrez actually signed this season before from Le Havre for £450,000.
Profit on that.
I mean, what a player to sign from that too, and it just shows like the recruitment around Leicester around this time was so good too.
Yeah. The recruitment definitely. And Ranieri, everyone was falling in love with Ranieri, wasn't they? After that game against Man City, it was a bit like, shit.
They could do this.
Like, you don't want to say it because you don't want to jinx it, but like, what is it? Like, you've gone through more than half of the season now. They've just beaten Man City, like who you'd say would be the closest rivals. United had fallen by the wayside. Arsenal had fallen by the wayside. Liverpool were non-existent, really. Chelsea imploding under Mourinho again. And that plays into the whole title win thing, I think. But let's keep riding this train as seemed to be their approach as well.
Yeah.
Everyone started to believe it could happen at that point. Then Arsenal came back and beat them again. And that seemed like a bit of a kick in the gut, right?
Yeah, it was the last-minute goal from Danny Welbeck from memory as well. But Leicester showed grit to collect 7 wins from their next 9 games, with all 7 wins coming without conceding a goal, and with players like Joa, Okazaki, Morgan, and Mahrez twice scoring the match-winning goals. So pretty much either 1 or 2-0 wins all the way to the title almost.
That's this period you've just described there. That's what won them the title, isn't it?
I think Ferguson always used to say, 1-0s win your leagues with clean sheets and things like that. And it was always like, you would watch them and go, well, where are they going to get the goal from today? And it would always be a different person popping up. I think in one game, Jamie Vardy scored twice as well. And it was just always thinking, this could happen.
Yeah.
When's the moment going to come that they could do this?
Because it was almost like Vardy was drying up as well.
He was, yeah.
Because they were winning 1-0, he wasn't the one every week. So you're thinking, oh, God, you need him to start scoring again.
And he's used up all of his goals earlier in the season as well.
So with Tottenham were actually the ones who were closest on their tails at this time.
Which would be a bit of a great story in itself for Pochettino's Tottenham to win the league. But everyone was like, nah.
nah. Want that one.
Yeah.
Want that one to win. Leicester then went to Man United with 3 games to go, looking to secure the title. They could only manage a draw at Old Trafford, meaning that they needed Pochettino's Spurs to not win at Stamford Bridge, and the league would be theirs. So just a draw at Old Trafford. Oh, but you know what? Spurs drawing against Chelsea, that could always happen.
Easily.
Yeah. Spurs, though, raced into a 2-goal lead. Chelsea then pegged them back to 2-2. Shit kicked off.
Oh, man. I remember, I think me and my partner were watching like a film or something, but I was just glued to my phone, like watching it or just keeping up to date with the score, like this could happen. And I remember the film had got like a couple of minutes to go, and there was also a couple of minutes to go in this game, and I was just like, am I going to be able to make it? Am I going to watch it? Am I going to be able to watch the moment? And I think by the end of it, the second went to black, I was like, right, off.
Yeah. God, fair play to you, pushing it right to the brink there. That was it. Leicester were Premier League champions, and Jamie Vardy is having a party.
A literal party in his house.
Well, that was the song all year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy's having a party, and then, like you say, it ended with them not winning on the pitch. It ended with them having a party at Jamie Vardy's house while they win the title. Do you think they would have preferred to have won it on the pitch, or do you think that just sums up the oddball nature of it all?
Better, because actually you see all the squad players in the background of those videos too. I mean, people like Danny Simpson played loads of games as well. And you forget people like Danny Drinkwater and these guys who weren't big superstars, but watching all of them, and even the guys on the bench, I think Gökhan Inler played for them.
Yeah.
And it was like he didn't play all season because the whole team was almost set in
Wasn't
stone.
he one of the bigger signings for like a fair amount of money compared to even Kante and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. He was seen as, I think Cambiasso had left, and they were seeing if Inler was going to come in and go, well, he's going to be the person to replace him. I think he started, but then just kind of drifted off. Even people like Nathan Dyer, he joined on a loan from Swansea.
Yeah.
He just must be thinking, fuck it, this is the best thing ever. Like, I don't have to play, don't have to do anything.
Prem title.
I know, you can just go back to Swansea. So what did you guys get up to last year?
Yeah. Leicester celebrated their title win with Andrea Bocelli singing Nessun Dorma at their last home game of the season. What a scene that was. Incredible.
Incredible that while that was happening, Claudio Ranieri was just stood next to him, holding his jacket for him. Just
That sums the man up.
Yeah, it really does. And everyone kind of fell in love again with Ranieri. There was the dilly ding, dilly dong.
Yeah.
That came back as well, isn't it? And when they got over the 40 points line, he was just like, no Champions League. We don't speak about it.
Yeah, and then when they qualified for the Champions League, he was like, Champions League, man.
Oh, we are Champions League, baby. Come on. I loved that. Again, just seeing the joy that came out of him and like, what the hell must he have done on that coaching, like on the pitch, basically?
I know. It just seemed like the thing was little, more of less almost.
Yeah. And it was is it like the best run of form ever in the league?
Yeah.
Because
It's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. We've got as the final point for it, fought.
Yeah.
I think football's shit now.
Yeah,
compared to this.
Because you know that's not going to happen maybe in our lifetimes again.
It just can't. Like
For the team who should have been relegated, new manager, like nothing really about the side either, like on paper, they actually win the league. And I think, a lot of it was a lot of the other teams had fallen around and they weren't really going for the league at that point. But it doesn't make it any difference. They got like 92 points or something. That's a lot of points still.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. It's just, and it kind of fell apart, didn't it? They sacked Ranieri the next season.
Yeah, I think they were in a relegation.
Get a life.
They were in a relegation fight. They'd made it through to the knockout stage of the Champions League as well, from memory.
They did a good run in the Champions League.
Yeah, they were really good. I think they got knocked out. I think they lost in Sevilla and then they sacked him. And then Shakespeare came in and got them through to the next point. But I was just like, come on, I don't care. You go down for that.
Yeah. Just reading and going through all that. The Vardy goal against Liverpool as well. What a goal. It was just incredible, man. Everyone had a second team to root for, and then like it actually came off. And like you say, it's much more of a stranglehold now.
Yeah.
You can't imagine anyone doing it. The thing is, if you imagine somebody doing it now, you'd probably say somebody like Brighton, who are already quite good.
Yeah.
You wouldn't pick the team who finished 17th last season or
No.
whatever. Leicester. You wouldn't pick a relegation certainty.
Yeah.
From last year to stay up and then win the. If they're going to the Champions League, we still would have done the state of football on it.
Yeah, definitely. But to do that as well. And you're right, everyone kind of looked out for them. I always remember when it was like, oh, Leicester are playing, right, I've got to look at their score.
Yeah.
It was always a thing of like, and willing them on as well to do it.
And watching games like that Man City game and being like, I'm happy to make this the centerpiece of my weekend.
Yeah.
It's a big game, and it was, and they always rose to the occasion. Some great players in there. I love that Jamie Vardy stuck there. He could have left countless times, I imagine.
I think he could have gone to Arsenal the following season.
That
He was
would have
just
been
like,
stupid.
Why would I go?
Yeah, like Arsenal as well. Like they're a good team, but like, yeah, I think it was. I think it was probably Leicester was the right place for him to stay. I don't know if it would have been successful if he'd gone to Man City or Liverpool or somebody like that.
And it's weird, really, like his football background, which we kind of forget because the story is always Jamie Vardy. With now, we all take it for granted almost that he came up through the non-league and he did all this kind of stuff. When really, this year he cemented himself as a very good Premier League player, and ever since it's only now really you're seeing him drop away in terms of numbers and the quality that he brings as well. He's not just like a tap-in player.
No,
he scores all sorts of goals. He's full of energy. He has to just do everything on the pitch. He's brilliant.
Leads the line very well.
Yeah.
God, what a time capsule and what a state of football. We need to press on.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the build up to this game then. Starting with Roy's boys.
Yes, we start with Roy's boys and England. Roy Hodgson had survived England's earliest exit from a World Cup just gone. England lost their opening 2 games to Italy and Uruguay before closing their campaign with a 0-0 draw against Costa Rica. A crazy decision that he survived, really, in hindsight.
Do you think?
Yeah, at the time, I was just like, well, you should give him another chance. It was a tough group, but you lose both of those games, and England didn't look good in any of them.
Yeah, I just don't think there would have been alternatives out there. And Well, yeah, that's just what I think.
Yeah, maybe that's fair enough.
I think at the time I would have wanted him to stay because he was likable.
I definitely did. I think just knowing the whole package of Hodgson and what came around it afterwards, you kind of go, "Oh, it was a bit of a waste, was it?" But you just don't really know. But I was with you at the time. I was like, we should back him and try and another tournament's needed.
Yeah, on to Euro qualification then.
Yeah. The FA they had faith in the Hodge and onto Euro qualification. Although England's first game back after the World Cup was a 1-0 win over Norway at Wembley. And it's kind of seen as the ultimate who cares moment between England and their fans, with only 40,000 people in attendance at Wembley that night.
Right, yeah, incredibly low. Not a problem so much these days.
No, not as much, but I guess that comes with, what we would consider success.
Yeah.
But like, imagine that even if England would have won the World Cup, your first games against Norway at home, like the scheduling, what is going on with that one really? Like, if you do bad, you're going to get this. If you do well, you're still just playing Norway.
What's wrong with Norway?
Nothing. I've been to Norway, very nice place, but it's hardly like the big showpiece game, is it? Of like, oh, actually, if we do bad at this World Cup, let's get everyone back on side with a boring 1-0 win.
I think that's exactly what you'd want after an awful World Cup. You don't want to go, we've done awful, let's get Brazil in.
Let's have an awful game.
Let's get absolutely battered to start this new era.
But look at that 40,000 people in attendance. It's just, again, who cares period of England,
who
isn't
cares
it?
exactly?
England kicked off their Euros qualifying campaign with an unappreciated 2-0 win in Switzerland, actually, helped by 2 Danny Welbeck goals. This is an impressive win, but it also ruined qualification for England because they already pretty much knew that they were going to go to the Euros after one game because they beat the toughest team they were going to play away from home, and 2 teams would still go through out of their Euro qualifying group. So it kind of leaves the rest of the group pointless.
Yeah, so it's just box ticking basically.
Yeah, you're just turning up and doing your time and leaving, and it's kind of the most forgettable qualification tournaments ever for England. The other group teams they play are San Marino, Lithuania, Estonia, and Slovenia. It doesn't seem like that should be allowed.
Did Harry Kane rack up quite a few goals, do you reckon, in that tournament? In the qualification, sorry.
Yeah, so he made his debut against Lithuania and scored after 2 minutes in his first cap as well. So good start for Harry Kane. He starts to emerge.
The emergence of Kane.
Exactly. The only really interesting match England played in qualifying was a kind of forgettable yet memorable game in Slovenia. I remember watching this game. England went behind in the first half, and then Jack Wilshere just went crazy and scored 2 of the best goals you'll ever see in an England shirt, and they were his first 2 goals for England as well.
Yeah.
Slovenia pulled it back to 2-2, and then Wayne Rooney scored late on to kind of wrap up the game, really. And it's a funny old time with England. They go an entire season unbeaten, the first time they'd done it since 1990-91 under Graham Taylor. So just
Hodgson and Taylor are the ones who have that.
I know, yeah, they're the ones that will always have that.
I think didn't Revy have it as well?
Oh, I don't know about going unbeaten. I think it counts as like a league season, I want to say.
Yeah, because I think we spoke about it like that. Or I think maybe we spoke about it. I think it was like a year.
Yeah,
So
maybe a year, not season to season, even
Yeah.
though I never think of England of like a season. I think of it as a calendar year.
It's like the wrestling, it just keeps going.
Yeah, always on, isn't
Big
it?
premium live events.
Yeah, as the campaign closes out in September 2015, England plays Switzerland again. And it's kind of remembered as the game where Wayne Rooney broke the all-time scoring record for England with a penalty to wrap up the game.
Well, congratulations to Wayne. I don't remember much about it. It kind of sums it up there. It happened in a bit of a nothing game, like the majority of his other goals.
Yeah, England finished the campaign winning all of their qualifying games. Only the 5th team to ever do so in Euro qualifying.
Can I just say, I love Wayne Rooney. Like, despite what I just said, love Wayne Rooney.
Yeah. England also drew 0-0 in the Republic of Ireland as well against Martin O'Neill's side at the Aviva Stadium. This cannot have happened. I've got no memory of England playing in Ireland. Like, in
It's a
my
0-0 draw,
lifetime.
so there's not much to remember it by, is there?
Yeah, but to me, like, I've got some Irish friends, and like, if England play Ireland, it's kind of like, oh, it's a bit of like a talking point.
Yeah.
But like the fact that England went and played in Ireland, I just feel like that did not happen, surely.
I think there was maybe a bit of trouble or predicted trouble around this game, and that was kind of the thing that you could remember it by.
Maybe.
I'm just looking at the Guardian report, and it starts, maybe in hindsight, a little too much was made of the message that the game should pass without incident. The supporters kept their side of the bargain, but what a strange and unsatisfactory occasion.
Well, let me just say this: if
Jack Charlton was there and came out and got a massive
oh,
ovation.
good. Well, that was the point of that game. That's good then. Right. So if I read you the England team, let me know the point where you just lose interest.
Okay.
Joe Hart, Phil Jones,
Oof, I'm close.
Ryan Bertrand.
There it is.
That's it.
There it is. Ryan Bertrand.
There we go. This is the Bertrand era, isn't it? You know,
Bertrand, Baines. I'm guessing he's probably knocking about competing with Bertrand as well.
I think Baines is gone by this point. Actually, we need the new blood in here.
Right.
Yeah. We get all these other ones. England go and lose in Spain. At one point for a friendly too, and Hodgson puts out such a forgettable team. Joe Hart was the captain. It's also a passing of the torch as Michael Carrick collects his 34th and final cap.
God.
Only 34 caps, and Eric Dyer wins his first in that game.
Yeah, that's it seems crazy that Eric Dyer's been around that long. I don't know what. Maybe it's because he's having a resurgence in club football at the minute.
He looks so different as well. He looks enormous in like around this period, and he's got big blonde hair as well.
He's got like schoolboy's hair.
Yeah, he looks like a kid, doesn't he?
It's not really a cut or anything. It's just like I haven't had it cut.
Yeah,
and I've put some gel in it, maybe.
Yeah, England a few days after the Spain loss, though, beat France at Wembley in a really unexpected, putting them to the sword. They were going to be Euro 2016 hosts, but Dele Alli's first goal in only his fourth game for England put them on their way, and then another one for Wazza.
That Dele Alli goal was magic from memory.
It was, yeah. I saw it pop up a while ago on one of those On This Day accounts that we follow as well.
And yeah, France were the host of the tournament we're looking at today, right?
Yeah, they were.
So that's good going.
Yeah, you kind of look at this and go, oh, it's all in the right place, isn't it? It's just something stinks about it a little bit.
It builds from there.
Oh,
Beating France isn't even the tip of the hype, hype iceberg, the hypeberg.
No, we are fully into tournament mode now, and when the March internationals roll around, we're in for a genuine thriller. England travel to Berlin against Germany and fall behind to a Tony Cruz sneaky scorcher. England go 2-0 down to Mario Gomez's header to wrap things up for Germany. However, that's not all she wrote. Harry Kane wearing his often seen see-through protective mask goggles.
Oh, yeah.
That thing, it always pops up, that does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Scores 4 minutes after Gomez's goal, and Jamie Vardy backheels his first goal for his country in the 74th minute. Game on.
Such a great goal from Vardy.
Yeah, it seemed like we never saw that type of goal until around this point where someone did it like every 3 weeks.
Yeah, like the scorpion kick, that one.
Yeah. We then get full pandemonium as Eric Dyer smashes in a late winner through his head. So let's just put this into perspective. England come from 2-0 down to win 3-2 at the World Champions. This is exactly what we do not need before a major tournament.
Didn't we just, well, not the world champions, but it's very similar to what we just had against Germany in real life, except Germany equalised.
Yeah, exactly.
In real life, in real time.
Yeah, in real life. I mean, the team that Germany put out that day is pretty good as well. It wasn't like it was like a scratch team either. It was like Neuer, Rudiger, Hummels, Cruz, Khedira, Muller, Ozil, Royce, Gomez.
Yeah.
A really good team. And then you look at England, we're back to Jack Butland, Nathaniel Klein, Danny Rose, Eric Dyer, Gary Cahill was captain, Chris Smalling, Adam Lallana, Jordan Henderson, Harry Kane, Dele Alli and Danny Welbeck. They beat that Germany team.
Jack Butland only lasted the first half as well. Fraser Forster came on for the second.
Oh, he was hooked. Yeah, and then the subs for England are Ross Barkley and Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
Just madness, really.
But what a win.
What a win. I remember
up
being
there with that Argentina friendly as one of the better friendlies. The Argentina one we started this whole show with.
Yeah, it kind of means nothing until you win, and it means everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, England are brought back down to earth a couple of days later, though, when they lose to the Netherlands at home. Yeah, another odd duck of an England team to the point where Danny Drinkwater plays his first game for England, and James Milner's captain this time.
Well, Danny Drinkwater, title-winning Danny Drinkwater.
Yeah.
At the peak of his powers, so I can see why he was there. John Stones also featured that day as well.
Yeah, it was seen as he keeps the ball so well for Leicester. Like, can he do it for England? The difference, I guess, is he had basically two players next to him in N'Golo Kante who was doing two different things.
Very true. Well, that came to be, I don't know, I guess it came to be seen over the years.
Yeah.
Kante's done really great and Drinkwater not so much at the same club.
Both ended up at Chelsea. So strange.
Yeah.
Into May, England beat Turkey at the Etihad Stadium thanks to a Jamie Vardy winner. England were on the road again, this time at the Stadium of Light against Australia, where Marcus Rashford scored 3 minutes into his debut after he'd kind of exploded onto the scene for Man United.
I remember where I was when I watched that because I was like, this is the start of it.
Yeah.
This is the start of the Marcus Rashford era.
It's kind of gone that way a little bit, but drudged off a little bit recently. But what a start for him too.
No, it's not. He's not been in the squad for ages.
That's what I mean. It's drudged off a little bit now. I think he'll go to the World Cup now. This form over the last couple of weeks it's been a lot improved.
All he needs is a couple of goals in big games, I think, to get him sort of,
there.
Yeah, because he's young enough to kind of replace Harry Kane, I think, when the time comes and get a few years in as the main man if he needs them.
And just kind of being that other option, really, too, isn't it? But at this point, he was like specifically playing out on the left only, which I think is still probably the best position for him. England's final game was against Portugal at Wembley, where Bruno Alves was sent off 35 minutes in, and it took an 86th minute Chris Smalling header to set England on their way to another win.
He's not a bad scorer of goals, Chris Smalling.
Yeah, I think he should get more probably for what he is. But the idea that we're in that period now of Chris Smalling is playing for England every single week. And
it's fine.
And it's just, everyone goes, well, he does all right.
I think they made up for the really shit qualifying group. Then you got Germany, Netherlands, Turkey, France and Portugal to warm up for the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't do it then, and two kind of like would be seen as derby games as well, in terms of Scotland and the Republic of Ireland too, testing your mettle against, fiery clashes.
Speaking of fiery clashes, let's have a look at today's opponents. We've gone a bit of a deep dive on Wales. Obviously, we've covered enough England history, but over the time of doing Is This England, we've never touched on Wales, despite all of our love for the home nations tournament.
Yeah, we've just never quite landed our finger on one of those yet, have we?
No. And with a huge World Cup clash just around the corner in real life, in real time, I'm going to speed up and flash forward to Gary Speed's reign in charge of Wales. On December the 14th, 2010, the Welsh FA appointed Gary Speed as manager. Speed had amassed a record 85 caps for his country, a number of which came as captain, and a professional club career spanning more than 670 games, including 248 appearances for Leeds, 213 for Newcastle, and 121 for Bolton Wanderers. It's the type of player you don't really get anymore, right? I feel like Gary Speed, getting that amount of like Gareth Barry's a good example.
Yeah, that's probably the closest thing, isn't it? Because you look at Speed at those clubs, he's kind of loved up all of them, really.
Yeah.
And he wasn't ever seen, oh, you left us and you did this or that. But actually, he's there and he's performing every week.
He's I think he was manager of Sheffield United at this time, and it wasn't going great guns. So, but I think he was just like passion for and like a desire to really want to do a good job. At the time of his appointment, Speed said, "It's something that's very difficult to turn down when your country comes calling. I am a very proud man at this moment to be asked to be manager of Wales." His first competitive match would be against England.
Getting it in there early, okay.
At home on March the 26th, 2011. England, however, would beat Speed's boys, in turn, pushing them down to their lowest ever FIFA ranking of 117th in the world.
Jesus, that is low.
So you've got the passion man in, and you want a bit of optimism, but then England put you in not even in your place, 117th in the world.
Bottom below 100. You just can't believe that, can you? For like a country of like kind of these isles and stuff.
That was in March, and we know FIFA rankings can be wild, but despite that doomsday start, by the end of the year, Wales had climbed 45 places, winning the title of biggest mover from FIFA for 2011, basically a most improved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not bad. I think they started to win a few games. The tide had turned, but Speed's reign would be short-lived. His tenure as manager ended in tragic circumstances when he was found dead at his home on the 27th of November that year. A quick moment to acknowledge the impact Speed is recognised as having had on the Wales squad's future success. Obviously, we know now that they qualified for this World Cup at least, and listeners can probably guess that they qualified for Euro 2016 as well from the clues so far.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, it was a tragic death, but I think that it's not just that tragedy that makes people say he had a big part to play in the success that came. I think he really made them believe that they could do something.
Yeah, they were absolutely on the upward curve, weren't they? Were under Speed, and I kind of do see what you would definitely consider success for Wales. I see a big part of Gary Speed in it because he put the ethos into the team. He made them believe. Yeah, they did have a great generation of players coming through, but they'd had great generations of players before.
And it's making them care about playing for Wales, isn't it?
And that's a big thing, I think, which may have been missing for a while. Like, people like Ryan Giggs have been like put with,
We haven't mentioned Ryan Giggs because, exactly like you say, that's what it was seen as. Obviously, you know, it is what it is. He's been
Yeah.
Wales manager since, but like, yeah, I think even you could say there's elements of it in Southgate's club style approach
Yeah.
to managing a national team. But the Welsh football team had to move on.
Yeah.
Chris Coleman was appointed manager in January 2012. They'd already failed to qualify for Euro 2012, and the World Cup 2014 campaign didn't fare much better. They finished 5th out of 6 teams in a tough group with Macedonia, Scotland, Serbia, Croatia, and Belgium. During the campaign, that campaign for the World Cup, Coleman had contemplated leaving his post, particularly after a 6-1 loss to Serbia. But he stayed, and he kind of set his sights on Euro 2016 qualification. Hopes were somewhat high as the Euros were expanded to include more teams. Did you have any opinions on that at the time?
I thought it was good because it made qualifying a lot more interesting.
Very
and
true.
And I was just like, actually, these games all mean a lot more because even a team who's maybe like 5th or 4th down in the bottom of the group, you still got a chance of, or 3rd place can still get you a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So it makes it more interesting. The problem comes when you come to a tournament and there's more sides there who probably don't have good games in the great sides.
Let's have a look at Wales' qualification then for Euro 2016. They were drawn in a group with alongside Belgium, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Israel, Cyprus, and Andorra. Andorra is where they would start, and they fell behind 6 minutes in before talisman Gareth Bale came to the rescue. Scored twice to secure their first home win of their first win of the campaign. This was followed up by a 0-0 draw with Bosnia at home before beating Cyprus in Cardiff.
Yeah, and they move on again in November 2014. Wales went to Belgium and secured a 0-0 draw in Brussels due to some really brave defensive work from the team. Belgium are kind of seen as the dark horses from the 2014 World Cup, and they've got a real fever about them, and the young players really starting to peak now. But you know, Coleman's clan, they got in there and they got a point, and they got, they really set themselves up for having a chance of going to the Euros.
In the new year, March 2015, Wales would beat Cyprus 3-0 with Aaron Ramsey and Bale on the score sheet again. So it's the big players really coming up with the goods at the time, and qualification must have started to seem like a real possibility. Bosnia were hot on their tails though, so with Belgium coming to town, they needed to produce a standout result, and produce a standout result they did. Gareth Bale would score the only goal of the game and sent Cardiff into raptures. There we go. Gareth Bale. Wales had a genuine world football superstar.
Oh, entirely, yeah. He's at Real Madrid at this time and just incredible. I think he helped them win to their 2 Champions League titles in a row, got them over the line for La Decima as well, and made just a massive impact for them and deserving of a Galactico.
Definitely. And they had Ryan Giggs before, but they had a Welsh national football superstar who just seemed to love playing for Wales.
Oh yeah, definitely. And even though playing for Real Madrid, he's still on side with the fans at this point.
Yeah.
Compared to what it would end up being, and his injury record, but he would always be fit for Wales. Even to this day, I think he's in the MLS, and he's just out there, and he's just making sure he is basically for the World Cup.
To play England.
Yeah. That is it. Yeah, set up.
So 4 games to go in their qualifying group. So in September of 2015. Bale would score Wales' only goal in a win away at Cyprus before a disappointing 0-0 with Israel at home. Wales then travelled to and lost in Bosnia, but with Cyprus winning in Israel, it meant Wales would go through automatically as runners-up with 1 game to spare. They've done it.
Finally.
Their first big tournament since 1958.
I mean, it's incredible when you think about that, because they've qualified for tournaments like since as well, and you think of some really standout players that have come and gone over the last 10 years really for Wales, but 58, incredible.
And not really just going to make up the numbers. I think they were kind of seen as a really together team, like really organised, and with standout star players. We mentioned Bale a lot. Aaron Ramsey, has been a really great player throughout his career and was probably at his peak around this time.
I'd say so, yeah. He was brilliant for Arsenal, wasn't he, around this? And he, move on at another certain point there. But as well, only 4 goals conceded in qualifying. That's incredible there as well. I mean, just to have the resources with what they have, but just producing that team ethos. And fair play to Coleman. I'm kind of a bit hot and cold over him every now and then, because I think Speed has done such a good job, but Coleman had to pick that up from an impossible position.
Yeah. So cast your mind back to as we approach the final approach for today's game. Cast your mind back to when Speed took charge and England beat Wales in his first competitive game and pushed Wales down the rankings to 117th, their lowest ever point. Right. By July of 2015, Wales had achieved their highest ever FIFA ranking of 10th.
10th, that is
What about that?
unbelievable.
That rise didn't end there. In September 2015, England had a few bad results and dropped to 10th, making Wales, who leapfrogged them into 9th position, the highest ranked British team for the first time in its history.
Fucking, that is crazy.
The following month,
Jesus.
Wales-
They win the World Cup.
no, but they did get their highest ever FIFA ranking of 8th. So as we head into the Euros, after all these years, and after England punching Wales down into 117th, Wales are ranked 2 places higher than England in the FIFA rankings. They're in the top 10 comfortably.
It has to be seen as a better team if you go by the FIFA rankings, don't they? You just can't deny that.
So today's game, England versus Wales at Euro 2016. We're going to take a look at the group, both obviously drawn in the same group, and I think this is round 2 of fixtures, England v Wales.
Yes, it is. There's already been one already. And England's group consisted of Wales, as we said, with Russia and Slovakia.
That's a quite. I mean, Wales are doing a lot of the heavy narrative lifting there, aren't they?
Yeah, Russia at this point, you kind of just like, England never play Russia.
Yeah.
And Slovakia, Slovenia, I know it's generic, but I kind of interchange them quite a lot. So I'm like, oh, is this a bit of a rivalry? No, it's not. It's the other team, but kind of a similar to group, actually, to one that I think England have got at this World Cup. Like
Which is USA, Iran, and Wales.
And it's kind of like
Yeah.
you don't get any plaudits if you win all these games.
No, that's right.
But also, each individual game, you could see England possibly losing in past tournaments or dropping points in.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not like you've got, like, I don't know, what was it, the Panama game or something. It was like, well, England are going to beat Panama. But there's kind of not really a layup like that.
Were there any outlandish squad selections? I see a picture in front of me of Dele Alli, and I think, oh God,
This
what
is
happened to
him.
Dele Alli? Yeah.
What happened to this Dele Alli? He is enormous during this game and in this period as well. He's got such big hair as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, were you ever? He's like this height of Stephen Merchant when I'm looking at him like in this game when we're watching him. But yeah, there was a couple of players that had kind of made their like first tournament appearances here. Kane, Rose, Dyer, as we've mentioned, Ali and Rashford all go. But kind of the big surprise X factor that Hodgson would employ in the team is Jack Wilshere going to the Euros.
So I'm trying to think of. We've seen Jack Wilshere before, haven't we?
Yes, I think it's in
2013?
Yeah, in the Brazil game, he played very well. And that was kind of when he started breaking into the side.
And this is 3 years after that, so should really be at his peak.
Yeah, or at least kind of being like an always selection for England. But I think the big issue of why it was weird that they took him is because he'd only played 3 league games for Arsenal this season after he'd broken his fibula.
That's a Fabio Capello-esque move.
Yeah, he just throwing it in there. Like, look, it's a chance. In case we ever need him, he's going to come on and we'll just see how it goes, really.
I can understand with strikers and goal scorers and poachers maybe, but like heart of the engine room midfielders, to take them on the chance that they might be able to come on like and change a game like that. I feel like somebody like Jack Wilshere needs 90 minutes to have a full influence on a game.
And maybe the most fragile position,
Yeah.
probably, apart from like maybe a centre half. But like in the midfield, you're going to be getting kicked all over the place. But I guess there was no one else in that England midfield who could carry the ball like a Wilshere, which is where he was just like, well, we're going to probably need someone to do that. He's the best we've got. And I thought we said earlier as well, he'd done really well when he'd been given chances for England, scored 2 great goals and was such an exciting player. It's just kind of like, well, what are you going to lose? Who are we going to leave behind? No one, really.
Rashford getting his first tournament experience for England. Feels early for him.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, because
Really
he wouldn't
is.
have started to play for United until at least like the January of that year, maybe.
I think it was the February he started playing. And as you said, he scored 3 minutes into his England debut as well. And it was kind of like all of a sudden one of those ones that's just bubbling under the surface of, well, you've got to take Rashford.
Yeah.
And I can't really remember who they would have taken instead.
Yeah.
But kind of like, well, another X factor, take him, see what happens. But then you've still got like a Vardy, which is still, he's almost old news by now, even though he's brand new on the scene in international football.
My guess is Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah, most likely. Defoe usually misses out on these things, doesn't he?
Yeah. Who was England's first opponents then? Was it Slovakia or was it Russia?
It was Russia
Oh,
in the opening game. The
what a
big,
way to start a tournament.
I know, yeah. The big team news for England was Wayne Rooney playing in a deeper midfield with Eric Dyer and Dele Alli.
Had they done that? We run through all the qualifications and pre-season stuff, not pre-season friendlies and everything like that. I don't think Rooney had played there that much, had he?
No, I think it was a bit of a new thing. And I think he was kind of starting to play this role for United a little bit.
It never really fully happened, did he?
No, I think when he went to Everton, he was kind of playing as like a number 10. And then when he went to America, he kind of did this. But it did seem to come out of nowhere. And actually, someone to look after the ball and kind of do something with it, because midfield, as we said, isn't very dynamic. So bit of a strange selection to just throw in straight away. But,
Yeah.
you know, I think England did give England a bit of control.
I guess it's more also forcing Harry Kane in there
Yeah.
and still being able to play Wayne Rooney.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Kane, the big emerging, well, kind of like the sim between him and Vardy of who would start.
Yeah.
I guess impact sub, Vardy, that's kind of your way you're going to go with it.
I guess so. So the game against Russia, yeah, we've got a Rooney in midfield with Eric Dyer and Dele Alli. England actually do control the ball and the game quite well. Control the ball. They control the game quite well with that midfield, but didn't really take any of the chances. It took a free kick from, of all people, Eric Dyer to put England ahead with 17 minutes to go. Not his last set-piece success for England at the tournament.
No, not at all. I remember watching the game and seeing Dyer kind of, I remember the free kick going in and going, oh, fuck, that was great, that was. And then looking and going, Eric Dyer?
Yeah.
Like, who knew he could do that in his locker?
I know. Yeah, I don't think I've seen him try it since.
No, I think maybe once or twice I've seen him stood over the ball with someone else and going, well, do you remember that once?
Yeah. So, only 17 minutes to go in the game after that free kick. So England are looking to just see the game out, get a deserved victory, and the tournament off to a fantastic start. Rooney is brought off for Jack Wilshere, and James Milner is brought on for Raheem Sterling. So we really are looking to shut up shop there. I don't know if bringing Jack Wilshere on is shutting up shop, really, because,
Yeah.
I mean,
He could break at any moment.
he could break at any moment. You'd have to bring Rooney back on. However, these guys couldn't hold back the tide, and Russia ended up scoring 2 minutes into injury time, following on from a looping header that Joe Hart failed to collect.
So annoying.
Yeah.
It felt like I'm in the pub watching the game going, yes, okay, interesting start for England. They've done all right. They've got, they scored.
Yeah. I'm just remembering now, actually. I remember watching that game in the pub with a friend who doesn't really like football and has got into the tournament hype at times over the years. And we were watching this game and he was going, I like this. This is better than what England used to do. Like, they're playing better. It looks more entertaining. This is different. And then when that went in, he was like, well, it's all the same. It's literally the same.
Why did I let myself be opened to this England side?
You lied to me. You lied to me. Let's have a look at Wales then. It was their first tournament game for 58 years when they faced Slovakia in the opening game. It would take only 10 minutes for Gareth Bale to score their first tournament goal since Terry Medwin's winner against Hungary in the 1958 World Cup. A free kick, I believe?
It was indeed, yeah, kind of seen as, keeper should have done a bit better for that. But, yeah, let's not let narrative get in the way here. A Gareth Bale free kick is your first goal at a tournament for a billion years. Brilliant.
Yeah. Duda would equalise for Slovakia before Hal Robson-Kanu scored the winner 9 minutes from time. Talk about narrative. So Wales go into today's game top of the group, with England needing to get a result against their lesser played rivals. Let's have a quick talk about the build-up to the game then, because Gareth Bale is a man who loves... he seems to be a different person when he's playing for Wales, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's obviously always competitive and has got so many trophies from club football and what have you, but he seems to become a bit of a monster when it's
Yeah.
his time to represent Wales.
Yeah, he's a bit more mouthy as well, I think, at times. I mean, right before the game, he was in full-on troll mode as well, saying that none of the English players would get into the Welsh side, mental, and the English players didn't care as much compared to the Welsh players, which is, maybe that's true, but...
Yeah, I would still say, call me old-fashioned, I'd still say Harry Kane's probably better than Hal Robson-Kanu.
Well, yeah, you mean you would be in a majority, I'd say, there.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. English players didn't care as much as the Welsh players. I can see where there is an argument that I don't like to use the phrase means more, but they are taking their country to a tournament for the first time in 58 years, so maybe they take it less for granted. Maybe you could say that is could translate as caring more, but it's just trying to wind us up, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And being one of those things of, those things that just get shared on social media all the time. And it's like all betting accounts. And all it is a picture of that person with a quote underneath. And it's just like, well, that'll just get us numbers, won't it?
Yeah. Bale, let's talk about Bale a bit more in depth then. He'd become a global superstar in the years preceding the tournament, moving to Real Madrid in 2013 from Spurs and helping Real Madrid win the Champions League in 2015 and 16. Bale would score in the 2015 final and assisted Real Madrid's goal in the 2016 final, also scoring his penalty in the shootout in the San Siro. In March 2016, Bale scored his 43rd La Liga goal, surpassing Gary Lineker as the highest scoring British player in the competition's history. At this point, as we approach the game, he's in Real Madrid fans' good books, scoring 19 goals in 31 games for them so far in that season. And yeah, a moment for Gareth Bale. Is he up there with the best players you've seen in your lifetime, perhaps just of that generation? Maybe take out the 90s players.
Yeah. I think you kind of forget how good he was at times, and actually how for a season he dragged Spurs almost to a Champions League qualification under Villas-Boas.
Yeah.
He was sold for, I think it was just under Ronaldo's 80 million world record, because he was like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And he was seen as, well, he wasn't the best player in the world when like Ronaldo left, but he was one of them, and it looked like he could become one of the best players in the world. And he was incredibly successful at Real Madrid. I know it all kind of went wrong in the end, kind of in like present day, and the fans' relationship soured, but an amazing, amazing player. He really is. And you forget what kind of a specimen he was, how physical he was. And in this game, he does it a lot.
We're on to the game then. It's England versus Wales at Euro 2016. The Stade Bollard Dele Alli at Lyon on Thursday, the 16th of June 2016. Right, so a bit more context around the group. The day before this game, Slovakia would beat a really poor Russian team 2-1. So England are placed third in the group, with Slovakia and Wales already above them on 3 points each. Slovakia would have played 2 games though, so come on.
Yeah, it just really makes you go, this is really important for England. And a draw and a derby, you kind of go, yeah, okay, we can take that. That's not too bad. We can still go to the next game. But a draw's probably no good for England here. You're putting a lot of pressure on that last game.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the lineups. Do you want to do England?
Oh.
Because I reckon I can handle the Welsh pronunciations.
Little holiday for me in England. Lovely, lovely staycation.
Yep.
In goal, we've got Joe Hart, and then it's Kyle Walker, Chris Smalling, Gary Cahill, and Danny Rose. A midfield of Eric Dyer, Dele Alli, and captain Wayne Rooney. And forwards, Adam Lallana, Harry Kane, and Raheem Sterling.
Wow. Any standouts on the bench? I know we've kind of discussed a few.
No, you kind of, I think we said earlier as well, when you look at some of the England players and you just go, all right, Ryan Bertrand. No offense to him, but it's a Ryan Bertrand, it's a Nathaniel Klein, Ross Barkley, all that. And it's just like, where's the excitement? All of a sudden you're like, good job, Jack Wilshere's in there.
I do think on the bench, before we assess the starting 11, because there's a lot to assess, Marcus Rashford, Jamie Vardy, and Daniel Sturridge as optional strikers to bring on is pretty good going.
Yeah, to change it entirely, and they're all different players too.
But this has been when Sturridge was like incredible, because there was 2 years or 3 years at Liverpool with Suarez when he was ridiculous.
I think he had a couple of good years, didn't he, with Suarez? And I don't think it was too long after. It would have been about 2014, 15, I want to say, when Liverpool pushed City really, really close, and the Gerrard slip kind of meant that they didn't win the league. Yeah. But that was when Sturridge was playing for them too. So yeah, he's kind of flitting around at the moment, and And seen as a guy who I think he started the last World Cup up front and scored in the opening game as well. So he's got a really weird England career.
The lineup is actually unchanged from the opening game against Russia. Roy looking to stick with what he knows best.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said, that they missed their chances, but they'd be hoping to take them this time. Another thing from the Russia game was the weird phenomena of Harry Kane on corners.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
This was like...
It was like a national outrage, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, you're putting your best player on corners?
I felt like you saw pictures of that, like, you know, when CCTV comes out of a footballer like smoking a fag or something, and you're like kind of squinting.
Yeah.
I felt like they presented it like that, like, look what happened.
Yeah, circles around it.
Yeah,
like, circles on the corner flag.
And the Kane 10 standing next to it. Like, yeah, that was weird.
Was it too much made of it?
Yeah,
Was it
I think
fair?
so. I'm just looking at that team. I mean, Harry Kane isn't the same player then. Wasn't the same player then as he is now. He's probably more of an aerial threat and stronger and more like dominant in the box now. But you know, you could get him to get the crosses into like Eric Dyer, Smalling, Cahill.
But also, who in that team are you trusting with a corner?
I'd probably say Rooney.
And even with Rooney, I think I remember watching him take corners from Man United and just never getting it in the box, basically. Always hitting the first man, and you're like...
Probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a weak bunch for set pieces. Graham Taylor would not be happy with their delivery whatsoever.
No. Yeah, so Rooney takes the midfield role alongside Dyer and Ali. That is such a weird midfield trio.
That is no pace as well. There is zero like speed in that team almost. There's Kyle Walker and Danny Rose-ish and Raheem Sterling. The rest of it is very, very slow.
Adam Lallana.
Yeah. Weird that he's kind of in the team and played quite well in the Russia game from memory too, but was seen as maybe a link-up player. You kind of go, this is the point we're at with England. Adam Lallana is like, yeah, well, he's got to play.
Yeah,
and never being like having a truly outstanding period. But Wayne Rooney as well. I kind of forgot he'd played at this tournament. It felt to me after the Uruguay game when he scored, that was kind of the end of his England run, and he'd have a couple of games here and there. But to me, I am just almost shocked that he's still playing for England at an international tournament at this point.
I'm never shocked.
He's
Not with
always
Rooney.
going to be there.
God, he's a living legend, but he did. God, I wanted him to not play for England long before he actually was taken off duties.
Yeah, off duties. or someone who's on duty is Joe Hart.
Joe Hart, 56th cap for Joe Hart.
It's been a long 6 years since he first broke into be the England keeper, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, you think back to World Cup 2010, and he was on the bench there. Let me have a go.
He was one
day old.
No, he was one David James fuck up away from being the #1 keeper because Rob Green was dead to Capello.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes level here with Ray Clements, who eked every single one of those caps from Peter Shilton's cold dead hands.
Joe Hart had it all made for him. He didn't have to eke.
Yeah.
He was just like, in my mind, he should still be England #1.
Oh yeah, in theory, when you kind of get a young keeper that comes through and you go, well, that's them forever, and you're fine. But like, there was just no other options, and I don't think up to this point he'd really underperformed for England or let England down. But here you kind of just start going, are you a really good keeper, or are you just the best available?
Yeah,
because the others we've got here are Tom Heaton, always a good solid backup keeper. And Fraser Forster, when he was a thing as well.
Yeah, again, I'm confident he's still a thing. He'll be on the plane going to the World Cup this summer.
Fraser Forster?
This winter, sorry. Yeah, he'll find a way to become third choice. Don't worry about it.
I can never remember if he's just come from Celtic or he's gone to Celtic. Like, it feels like he's one of those keepers who just made a great living for themselves in Scotland, but definitely still live in England.
I think of him as a Southampton player. Do you know where he's currently playing?
Oh, go on there. It's not like City or something mad, is it?
It's Spurs, yeah.
Oh, is he at Spurs? Oh, he's just he's got the best job in football, the keeper who never plays.
Yeah, definitely. Except, yeah, this is with Conte. So you imagine how much he demands of everyone, including the third choice keeper who never plays. He's like, warm up. Yeah, well, you're joking, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, do I look like I'm joking? You don't look like you're joking.
I am just here for the celebrations if we ever win a trophy like Scott Carson's doing. He's got it made for himself.
Scott Carson, there you go. You read it here first. Hart, Carson, Forster, the front three in goal for the World Cup, the forerunners. Anyway, Wales. Wayne Hennessy in goal. Defense, we have Chris Gunter, James Chester, Ashley Williams, Ben Davies, and Neil Taylor. Midfield, Aaron Ramsey, Joe Allen, and Joe Ledley. Gareth Bale plays just off Hal Robson Carnu. So, I mean, on the bench, what, Sam Vokes, Dave Edwards, I mean, Jazz Richards, that's a good name, but not a star-studded bench. They certainly can't bring on the likes of Jamie Vardy, but a strong first 11.
A strong first 11. That's kind of what they'd built their success on as well, was like a steady team. That was you could almost pick the team with your eyes closed at times. Weirdly, there was 3 changes from the opening game win, though. Robson Carney starts in place of Johnny Williams. Wolves' dangerous Dave Edwards drops to the bench for Joe Ledley. And Wayne Hennessy, I think, was injured in the first game. So Danny Ward is out. He is in.
On the starting 11, I love the fact that Gareth Bale is playing out of position.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the best player.
Yeah, just get your best player in the middle. It's like on FIFA when you get your best, like, quickest player out wide.
Yeah.
Just to run through the team, basically. But yeah, I think that was always the theory about, well, you got to get him central because he affects the game more.
Okay, the build-up and anthems time then. We get a little insight into the Gary Lineker Dreadometer as we were watching a BBC.
Yes, we were.
Coverage, stream, post.
Goldmine.
Yeah, exactly. What's Lineker saying? What's he up to?
He kind of has this thing where he asks the pundits, oh, well, you know, how's the game going to go? It's just always open-ended and always really well, you know, how bad's it going to get, guys?
Yeah.
And it's usually to someone like Shearer, but Shearer asks for calm heads in the game, and Dean Saunders says, I think we'll win 2-1.
Right.
And so Dean Saunders just puts it out there, and it's just like, okay, let's see what happens then, Dean.
Yeah, it's like, Dean, we've got like a couple of minutes to fill. You're going to need to talk a bit more than just give us the score.
I'm pretty sure when our stream started, like there was a countdown to kick off, and it was like 11 minutes to go, and Dean Saunders just went 2-1. It was like, okay, let's go back to Alan Shearer. He's going to have something more interesting to say, surely.
We're in the tunnel. Wayne Rooney is what mode would you say his hair is in? I would say kind of luscious.
Yeah.
Luscious balding head.
Fake
hair.
He's kind of in its abstract model phase, Wayne Rooney is, and he's looking slim, and his hair is kind of a mirage of what used to be there. He's also wearing a very sleek blue jacket. Looks like he's about to be shot into space.
He does. He definitely does look like he's like, yeah, just, you know, eating those sort of fluid capsules.
Yeah, just like squeezing them out.
Gel pack.
Yeah, gel pack, that's all he's allowed. And annoyingly, in the tunnel, we get Joe Hart trying to psych everybody up as well. He's like going, come on, guys, move that fucking ball. Come on, move the ball.
Yeah,
it's like he's at an Oasis gig and the lights have just gone down. Like he just can't wait for fucking In the Bushes to start. And he's just like, come on, let's get into this, guy. He's like jumping out around, like grabbing random people.
That's your classic Joe Hart there.
I know,
that's when you knew the wheels were starting to fall off, when he started to do that more and more.
Yeah, trying to be more of a personality because his goalkeeping wasn't up to it.
Yeah. Who have we got on commentary to save us then?
I had a little bit of a tight chest when they said, and we're going to hand over now to, and it's Guy Mowbray, but then in the tombola today, we get Robbie Savage and we get Martin Keown. Not the best personalities.
Can we spin the tombola again?
Yeah. Have I got to do this? Again, it's like when you're selecting a team on FIFA, you've got 3. And you go, right, close my eyes. I'm just going to use randoms.
Yeah. Hit me. Yeah. Come on. No, that's not the last one. That's not the last one. That was a practice one.
One more. Come on, one more.
Come on.
No one wants these guys on the commentary table. Come on. And yeah, we are just stuck with them now. This could be painful.
I think in the first couple of minutes, we are just kind of absorbing the atmosphere anyway, aren't we, really? You've got the Don't Take Me Home song being sung loud and proud by the Welsh fans.
Yeah, and I haven't got a problem with that. That really became a big thing during this tournament, of that song becoming like everywhere.
The film that's about their run at this tournament, isn't it?
It absolutely is, yeah. And it annoyed me because every gobshite and team have taken this as their own song since.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to a festival and we went to a pub afterwards and it was just crazy in there. And I think someone was climbing on like a table and a light and all the music went off. And I think for about 45 minutes, that song was just everyone in the bar was singing it.
Yep.
And it's kind of like, that's not your song.
I I'm now ashamed to admit that when England beat Ukraine in the Euros just gone,
Yeah.
I was singing that all flipping night outdoors at the village in Moseley. It
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, once that song just gets swept up into you, like that's a thing. I can't say that I wasn't one of those people at the pub I was at that time singing it, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I don't like when fans have started taking it as their own now. Like if it's just random people in a pub, I haven't really got a problem. It's more like, oh, this is ours now, isn't it? Like, you know, when the Icelandic clap became a thing.
Yeah,
And all that. And I'm just like, this isn't right. This isn't at all.
The first big chance of the game is for England. Adam Lallana is set off down the right and bambies his way towards the Wales area. He plays a perfect ball across to Raheem Sterling, who blazes over from 7 yards out.
Yeah, disappointing. This is the day of not good Raheem finishing, really. It's the really, really wasteful stuff. Not even now where you go, okay, he misses a couple of chances, but he scores mostly. This was like no goals for England almost era.
When you say the day, you mean the era of... Because, yeah, he does it on more days than today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. But this is still that period, isn't it? And I think as well, when we kind of like the commentary starts to kick in a bit more now, and I think at certain point in Robbie Savage's punditry career, he swallowed a tactics manual because, you know, and he never has quite fully digested it, I feel, either. It always keeps coming up in like weird bits. He'll go into these weird moments of like revelry about tactics, like he's like a band he's really into.
Yeah.
And like, you've never heard of him, but I'm going to tell you about them. And he's like, he starts going, that's the problem with playing wing backs. You leave the space behind you when they push up. And it's all like, you know, a pretty standard idea of players move forward, there's space behind them. And he's not wrong either about it, but it's like when you're at a restaurant and someone's telling you what the menu is and you've got the menu in front of you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, yeah, I get it. Can we just move on, please?
See, the burger, that's a bun.
Yeah.
That's a bun sliced into two with beef sort of patty thing in the middle.
Have you ever heard of bechamel sauce? Bechamel sauce is big right now. I'm going to tell you about this. This as well, this piri. There's a scale. He's not looking. There's a scale. Oh, he's not going to know now, are you? Well done.
The game moves on. It's not the most extravagant and exciting of affairs. There is a big shout for a penalty for England around 30 minutes in. The cross comes in. Kane and Davis both go for the header. It kind of bounces and runs down the arm of Davis and off his hand. Was it a penalty?
Yeah, it's one. I mean, I think the handball rule's kind of broken these days, and I don't really know what is and isn't a handball. But Robbie Savage is definitely of the opinion that this was not a penalty as well.
I kind of thought it was a penalty.
Yeah, don't. If it would have been given, you kind of go, okay, fair enough. But like Savage is determined it's not. He says that's not a penalty. It's not a handball. It's hit his arm, but you can't give a penalty for that. He's not even looking at the ball. Like eye contact is now part of a rule for penalties, apparently, and it's just like. Savage is just being the loudest in the argument and just trying to get there in the quickest. Like, I don't think Martin Keown ever comes into it once without, like, being allowed to come in by Savage always. As soon as Mowbray stops talking, Savage is in there with his big, loud opinion.
Well, that's savage life for you. But it's if you ask me, it's quite savage that England haven't been given a penalty.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is harsh.
There would be 1-0 up and there'd kind of be semi-deserving of it maybe, but... It's not really much of a game. Really poor quality. Neither team keeping the ball well. Wales have been happy to sit back, knowing they've already got 3 points, so it's kind of looking good for them in terms of the group. Rooney gets a bit frustrated, not being given a free kick and lashes out, concedes one himself. The dreaded Gareth Bale stands over it.
Now, this is sort of Gareth Bale territory. It's a long way out, but he'd be looking to hit it from here. Joe Hart will be well aware of that. Just picked a bit of the lens turf out of his boots as Bale. Only one option for him. It's almost like a rugby union kick, the way he's gone back, step to the right, chest puffed out, and strike brilliantly! Gareth Bale with a moment of absolute magic! Not many players in the world can do that! The Welsh legend might be writing another one. England 0, Wales 1. It's that
Wales 1-0. Look at the technique from Gareth Bale. It's in the middle of the goal. I think Joe Hart's got to do better there.
Joe's got to save that ball. It's an unbelievable strike. The ball nearly catches fire. He hits it so hard. But Joe should be saving that. He's got to put an extra step in across his goal and flick that wide.
Oof. Who else?
Yeah,
Narrative.
this is it.
This is narrative.
It
Just like that ball is so far away from the goal. The free kick is so far away from the goal. There's no way that ball goes in without narrative behind it.
it's closer to the halfway line, it looks, than the goal, doesn't it? And that's probably not true, but like you look at it and go, wow, that is a long way. And like you say, it is hit with pure narrative. Like Gareth Bale scores the goal for Wales from a free kick against England. I mean, has there ever been a goal that you can think of? Yeah, that was always going to happen, that exact type of goal.
I've got one.
Oh, yeah.
Gareth Bale against England in the World Cup coming up.
Yes, again in 2022.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What, Jordan Pickford conceded the same goal. So it's a Joe Hart mistake
Yeah.
more than a Gareth Bale moment of excellence, surely. He's
Yeah.
done well to be honest, he's done well to get the free kick on target in a good position, but keeper's got to do better.
Yeah, it's not a bad free kick, as you say. It gets up and over the wall, still got the power and narrative behind it, but it's pretty much in the centre of the goal. Like it's still in the half or the third you'd want like straight at Joe Hart to go, well, I haven't really got to move for this.
Yeah.
But he just kind of hits his arm and just goes in and he pushes it into the bottom corner. So you see where the ball's finished and you go, oh, that must have been pretty good. But it was so straight in the middle. It's terrible, really.
And he's there, surely in his head going, I'll show him. He thinks
Yeah.
he's going to score. This isn't his moment. This is my moment.
Yes.
This is my England moment.
Straight down the middle. Here we go.
Wales' first goal against England since Mark Hughes scored on his international debut back in 1984. And wouldn't you know it, it's come on such a big occasion. Ah, fuck.
And it's, when you look at that, Mark Hughes has started playing football, done so well he started playing football for Wales and his country, has then retired from football, managed the international side, and Wales still haven't scored a goal against England. And this is it. This is the time now. And yeah, Wales are just loving this, as they should and would. And they just go into full voice, rubbing it in England's face, singing England's going home to the tune of Three Lions, you can hear in the background. And it's moments like this you hate as a football fan, where you kind of have to just stand there and take it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it. And I imagine the pubs would have been silent for this part in England.
No, exactly. That's it. And it's at that point where you start to think, you know what? I hate this team.
Yeah.
You know,
Why do I do this to myself every time?
like, why can't we be like Wales and just have a good player and some other decent players and play as a team and play together? Why have we got better players than them and still just can't do anything?
Yeah, you kind of like become jealous of Wales who haven't been to a tournament in like since God was a boy, and you're just like, oh, at least they're doing something, aren't they?
Yeah, it's so crud.
Yeah,
It's bloody crud, man. And it gets me upset about the World Cup that's coming up, because same thing is going to happen again.
Hey, come on, we can't be that negative. We've got stuff behind this. We've got the team. Let's try it again.
We move forward. Robbie Savage starts to question just how important this upcoming team talk from Hodgson is as we stroll in to half time.
Throws the ball back in. But there it is. Half time in Lords. What a half for the Welsh Dragon. Gareth Bale's done it again. 2 games, 2 free kicks, 2 goalkeepers who won't want to watch them again. Joe Hart beaten from range. England have work to do if they're not to be beaten in this game. It's Wales' game to lose. England 0, Wales 1.
Big boos from the England fans.
Yep.
Fuming. And, you know, I hate to say this, but Robbie Savage is right.
He's right. What about the big halftime talk Hodgson's got ahead of him?
Career defining.
Yeah, I think he pretty much says this is the most important halftime team talk he'll ever have, and you can't really. Again, it's that thing, you can't really disagree with him, but you're like, shut up! I know this.
Yeah.
Stop telling me what I don't like, and I already know.
It's because you don't trust him to do what he needs to do as well, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
it shows you Roy Hodgson, and you see, and he looks like Roy Hodgson, and Robbie Savage is there going, he's got to make some miracles happen in there or something like that, and you think, well, he's not gonna, is he? Look at him.
Well, what he does do is that he makes 2 half-time changes.
Now that is out of character.
Very kind of bold, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sterling and Kane off. Gareth Southgate would be turning in his waistcoat at this point. And Vardy and Sturridge are on.
Now that is very symbolic, isn't it?
That is also kind of like a very fan thing to do.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
these days what I do is get all them off.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always hate that because, like, well, no one ever makes substitutes at half time. And you're kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage because you don't know how the rest of the game's going. But it is going so bad for England when they've played fine but not good.
But they need the win.
And that's the thing. They need to just change it now. So it's just like we have to do something. And this is that thing of underperforming players. Okay, you are out.
Sterling and Kane, man.
Which seems crazy now, doesn't it?
No,
But this is
so does.
But this is they're still very early into their England careers. They've got nowhere near the heights they'll hit. Like basically, Wales are playing a back 5. England just have 5 players stood exactly where all the Wales players are.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this isn't like there's no movement, there's no anything really, and you just think it's so kind of disappointing when you look at this other talent on the pitch and they just stood exactly where the Wales players want them to, basically.
Yeah. Vardy coming on is a big positive for the fans and the spirit in the crowd, though. It's your equivalent of bringing Jack Grealish on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially around this time. I think we forget how much of a cult hero he was. I remember being at a Prodigy gig, and during like the waiting for the band to come on, like his song just started like being played, like being sang by everyone in the crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like, we're in Birmingham. Like, why is this such like a big thing? This cult classics just started off here now. But yeah, the England band started to get into it as well.
It looks to have made a bit of an impact. England are certainly playing with a bit more intensity in attack. Straight away, England have the ball and have a bank of 5 players right up against Wales' defence. I mean, it's good in one sense, but where's the movement? Where's the shape? As you say, where are they playing? We can get the ball. We can get into a sort of a position where you should be able to make an impact, but freeze.
Or even any sort of pressure, because England have got Dele Alli and Wayne Rooney playing behind Adam Lallana, Vardy and Sturridge.
Fucking
It's
hell.
just, again, it's another tombola, that, isn't it? It's like some mad fever dream.
Take Rooney out of that, though, and just say, you know, Lallana, Vardy, Sturridge and Ali. They're 4 England players who didn't really have an England career, to be honest. I know Ali did okay.
Yeah.
Just in the World Cup 2018.
Vardy did all right as well.
He's done all right, though. He's always been a disappointment for England for me. Just like...
Yeah, what he could have been.
Yeah, what he could have been. And it's just like, yeah, what the hell? It's another one of these tournaments where you're like, why did we expect to do anything?
Yeah.
Because Rooney's not even at his best. He's old man Rooney by this point. He's about to go into space.
Yeah. He's about to go into space. He's in, like, you know, the period where Wayne Rooney in those adverts when he was really young, he'd be seen like coming out of a caravan with that big beard and bald.
Yeah.
He's actually that now.
He's older than that version of Rooney. So we're just not making the chances. Gary Savage. Robbie Savage, he gets stuck in again, kicking the boot in.
Yeah, and he said that England should want a proactive manager, not a reactive manager. And Martin Keown just starts going, actually, what they want is a winning manager. And it's like, oh, Martin, have you not learned that we're not even happy with a winning manager?
They need to tick so many more boxes than that, mate. Do we want a proactive, not a reactive manager? I guess everyone wants a proactive, not a reactive manager.
But again, you kind of want a winning manager. That was always the thing of a Conte and all that stuff.
That's all it is. Who's ever gone, I want a reactive manager. What I want is our team to be on the back foot for most of the game.
No one ticks that box, do they?
And forced into rash decisions, and then they pay off in a dramatic way.
Yeah.
Never happens. Wayne Hennessy makes a good save from Rooney, who tries to slot one into the same corner Joe Hart fucked England up from. England do continue with their pointless pressure, though, and it's so pointless and so bad until it's not.
Now Vardy couldn't quite fall before Taylor arrived. Here now is Sturridge. Cahill couldn't get off the floor. Vardy's there! England are level! The Jamie Vardy story goes on with another chapter. Wales asked the question about offside. The questions Roy Hodgson asked of his team are on the way to being answered. Jamie Vardy really does have the golden touch. Wow. offside. He spins on it. He's not worried about that. Predator in the box.
He's onside. It's come off Ashley Williams' head. Just watch there. Ashley Williams heads it into Vardy's path. He's onside. It's a goal. Positive substitutions from Roy Hodgson has paid off. 1-1, game on.
England are having a party.
We're all having a party now.
Yes.
Old Vardy, who never really did it at the international level for England, as you say.
Disappointed me 4 minutes ago, or what have you. I stand by that, but this is his England moment. He did have one.
This was an amazing England moment, really, isn't it? It's kind of a hopeless ball in, easily dealt with by Wales, and it comes to Sturridge on the left, who floats in just a nothing cross in. Ashley Williams actually heads it kind of back to his goalkeeper by accident, and Jamie Vardy is there from about 2 yards away and finishes it past Hennessy.
With his broken wrist or what have you. And he's
Yeah, the tape thing that he had on there for ages. I always remember the guy that, you remember the one who did the impression of him? There was always a Vardy lookalike that would get bought into Soccer AM and stuff.
Yeah.
And he'd always have that. And I was like, yep. Oh, I'm deep into this.
So offside as well.
Well, that's the
I
thing.
know he's not because of how the ball falls to him from a Wales player, but that's Vardy, man. He's that striker, isn't he? I know he can do more than that, but out of anyone in the England squad, he's the only one who would be there and he would fall to.
Yeah, definitely. Like, everything's just with him at the moment. And it feels like Keown is actually trying to wind up Savage at this point, because he's like, oh yeah, maybe just a fraction off because they can't see it. It's like, have you not seen, like, he is in the middle of the penalty area, halfway into it, when like the nearest Wales player is on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Yeah, it's bad, but huge roar from the crowd. England are back into it 1-1, and still with plenty of time really to get a winner.
Yeah, I mean, the celebrations afterwards were brilliant as well, but I laughed so much when I saw Gary Neville run over to the players and start jumping on them as well, and then almost like he's annoyed with himself that he's let himself like enjoy it, and he starts walking away again and just like clenched fist and a clenched face of like, we're back in this, we're really into
That
this.
was his character then, before like Roy Keane came back onto the commentary scene and like just was like, unless you're winning everything, you can never smile. Like Neville's was always just like, I play for Man United, so I had high standards, you know. So he does look angry that he allowed himself to get away with to get carried away with it all.
Go home and whip himself.
Oh God, I bet he does as well. It's Vardy's 4th goal in his last 5 international games. So despite my my doubts about his England career, there was a time when he was really pushing. It's just a shame because he's such a good player. Like, we all know, we can all say that he hasn't really gone on to do much else for England, really.
I think he just had other good players around him, and and England never really found a system to play him in as well. That was the big thing too.
In a theoretical world where anything could possibly happen, I would have loved to have seen him had as long as Kane.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't want Kane to exist in that world. But, like, I'd like to have seen him had a good couple of World Cups and a couple of Euros, maybe even as England's main striker, because he is that good. Yeah, and he is that effective and efficient with his shooting. But as I say, just sadly not to be. It's been Harry Kane's era, and he's like the Ian Wright of the time, I guess.
And that's the thing. At this point, he was Vardy is by far the more popular player that people want to see, because he'd had the big season with Leicester. He'd broken in, great scoring coming into the tournament too, and he just feel like that's the player that the fans wanted. Like, a player to come on and change the game, and they were like, right, what did I bloody tell you about Vardy?
Yeah. He's so flipping skinny as well.
I know, he's young here too.
Yeah.
He's like a baby, even though he's 27.
He's not put on like much weight or anything like this. He's just got a bit of like stubble on his face, and
his face has got pointier somehow. Like those court sketches of him, and it's just like really sharp.
There's actually another handball shout against Davies, who closes down an England shot just inside the penalty area with his arms and hands.
Yeah, just nothing's being given. Again, Savage just was like, well, what's he supposed to do? Disappear? He was like, well, just don't handball it, really. Don't put your hands there, like in front of your face almost. Or
what's he supposed to do? Disappear?
He said something like that. He said,
I love that.
It was the same with a foul earlier as well. And I think he was like, it was Ramsey or something. And he was like, well, what's he supposed to do? He can't just disappear. And Kieran just goes, a foul is a foul, Robbie.
But like you could say that about like go to court for like a murder trial or something like that. What's he supposed to do? Just disappear? You can't send him to prison. Your Honour, my client will be disappearing now.
Yes, he knows magic, so as long as he disappears, it's all
The
fine.
judge is just like, there's nothing I can do. That's the one loophole in the law.
I mean, that is the law. I mean, the magic law. We'll just open the book now. That's it.
If you are able to disappear, you cannot be held accountable for any of your actions.
Now look at this bunch of flowers I've just managed to appear from nowhere. They're illegal.
Well, England have around 30 minutes now to really push forward and try and get the win. The next 10 minutes are a period of sustained pressure. But the ball doesn't really fall for England much, and Wales are just wildly clearing it away. Sturridge is kind of taking on a free role wherever the wind may blow, is where he will be. A role that I kind of think suits Daniel Sturridge.
Yeah, just kind of a freewheeling guy. But has he ever been a good enough player to warrant that role almost at times?
Maybe at this point in this England squad.
Well, yeah, just kind of like, okay, he's doing okay. Let's just carry on. And it did feel like that a bit at Hodgson. Like he had a set team, but also he was very changeable in terms of what the team would do. Kind of like, right, you were good for 30 minutes last game. You're going to start, which I guess is, you want to play the players who are in form, but at the same time, like maybe, like we've said previously, there's a role for a certain player. And, one of those players who's coming on now is 18-year-old Marcus Rashford, who comes on too.
Yes. Welcome to the fold, Marcus.
Yeah.
England's youngest ever player at a Euros by 4 days, beating the record set by
Wayne Rooney.
Impressive. I mean, Rooney was doing absolute damage
Yeah.
at this point.
It makes you realise how good he was being so young in year 2004 as well, by just being like, and Marcus Rashford is coming on and trying to change the game, but he was starting the best player in the team and the best player in the tournament by Rashford's age, and he's literally just like going, oh, great, I get to go to the tournament.
That's true. Let's talk about one of England's, it's not been an exceptional performance by the team by any measure, but unsung hero, Kyle Walker.
Kyle Walker. It's the
Shock.
it's the earliest appearance of us gushing over Kyle Walker, isn't it? Yeah, he's been in like full computer game mode. Just head down, smash the ball forward, beat your man, and cross it in. And Rose really hasn't done that on the other side, but it's fun seeing this kind of like prototype Walker before he became the Colossus.
And around this point, we've got about 10 minutes left in the game, and the commentary team and I guess England fans start to reconcile with the fact that, hey, a draw might not be so bad. Do you remember the last time we started a tournament with 2 draws?
Oh, yeah.
It's 1966.
Yeah, it'd be one of those crap things, wouldn't it? Yeah. But this kind of is that bad now. As it stands, England only have 2 points, meaning that they need to win against Slovakia, who are on 3 points, and Wales are on 4 points. And then you're kind of going, well, we've got to beat Slovakia, and then maybe that's still not enough. I can't quite think of the maths about it, but then there was still a chance of the third best team goes through for certain groups, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to think about this. I feel ill.
Yeah. So would you back? I wouldn't back England to do it though.
No. I remember for this game, I wasn't allowed to watch it at work, just because we had something on at the time. But I remember following it on my computer. I remember it got to the last few minutes. I was just like, I'm going to the toilet,
and we get a the toilet. You can't go to the toilet, not now. But I really need it.
But I was just like, I'm going to the loo. That's it. And I just remember I just went into the cubicle and just sat and watched the rest of the game because it was on ITV and I was streaming it. And I was just like, well, this is my bit. I couldn't watch the whole game, so I'm just going to watch the last little bit and see what happens.
Wow. Martin Keown gets a little bit of joy at this stage because we get a famous sort of a classic of the genre, really, of tournament football, crying fans.
But kind of crying out of happiness. This guy, so he's crying out of happiness. He's a Welsh fan, and he is bawling his eyes out. And then all of his mates start going, oh, hey, look, you're on TV. And then he's smiling and just being like, putting his arm up with pride. And he's just like...
It's a weird reaction to have to what's happening, isn't it?
But it's like 1-1. Like... You've not beaten England yet.
And there's still time left.
Still time left. You just think, what is this? If that was me, I'd have to leave my job and maybe the country if I was seen on TV doing that. That's not good.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Strange, but Martin Keown enjoyed it, as we say. By this point, while Keown's enjoying himself, Robbie Savage is a nervous wreck.
Oh my God. The voice, when he says, it's like he's like rubbing his knees going, oh, big minutes for both teams, big 3 minutes coming up. Like his voice starts to crack and you can almost hear like him like holding on to everything like he's on like a roller coaster.
You do have to remember, though, that he's never seen Wales at a tournament, including playing for Wales as well.
Yeah, he's been part of that story, hasn't he?
And it's England when it happens as well. I just stopped for a moment there to think about how crazy it was that after all that time, the group wasn't like Sweden, Slovakia,
Yeah.
Russia. You know, it was England. Yeah, so it is a big 3 minutes coming up for both teams, Robbie. But only one can make the killer blow.
It's as though some of the legs are heavy out there now. This is Rooney. Sturridge should be fresher than most. Only played a half. He's had a good half. Rose. Sturridge. Ali comes towards him. Vardy's in the area. Dele Alli. Daniel Sturridge. Sturridge scores! Injury time. It's England's this time. Talk about passion. Talk about pride. This England team have it in bucket loads. From 1-0 down to winning the game. Roy rung the changes, and haven't they paid off? Wow, Daniel Sturridge here. Just a little probing pass that he makes. Look, just knocks it in. Then he goes. And he gets it back. He gets lucky. And he hits it off his right foot. No chance for the keeper. How he's got through that sea of players we'll never know. But who cares? England are in front.
Pandemonium this was. The noise when that England goal goes in
That's
is
proper.
amazing.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like the being at like the biggest games in like British football where you kind of just feel that roar because it is England fans that are doing it. Obviously, it's in a big derby. And, you know, it didn't look like England were going to create the chance, but
No.
they kind of do from out of nothing as well.
I am so confused by this goal. If you could lead us through, because I watched it on the replay so many times and I don't know what's happened.
It's hard to kind of know how the ball ends up where it does, doesn't it? So got a Rooney's in his own half and plays the ball through to Sturridge, the drifter, kind of outside the box. And he kind of takes forever on the ball, just waiting for someone to make a move. And all of a sudden, Vardy comes short for him. He kind of tries to play a 1-2 with Vardy, but Vardy's closed down so quick with his back to goal. The ball kind of just falls to Dele Alli somehow, who falls over, but while doing it, is also plays like a pass return back to Sturridge.
Yeah.
Sturridge kind of takes it in his feet, but it looks like he's got caught in his feet as well, and he can't get the ball out of it. And all of a sudden, it's just like it just scoop like magics it in the corner.
Yeah.
And Hennessy should do better for it. Definitely, he kind of hits his leg and goes in, beats him at the near post.
Did Dele Alli do a falling through ball pass for Tottenham when the Ajax one?
The Ajax one is the one I thought as well. Just when you don't think the ball's on, but he just kind of plays it through so beautifully. When you like I say, when you don't think it's about to happen.
And then it's just a finish by Sturridge. Does he like chip it up and kind of hits off his own shin? I don't get it.
It's almost like an optical illusion where you don't. It doesn't look like he's kicked the ball, but the ball's moved.
Yeah, and it's just gone in. I mean, Christ, it's somehow it's gone in there.
Yeah.
And big celebrations. Wayne Rooney tries to take his moment as well. Do we want to talk about that?
Oh, straight into the camera, straight down. It's like one of those, like the still. I'll definitely put that still up on the socials. But it's one of those ones of like what the food looks like in the microwave, and you're like on the edge of it, looking in.
It's like the dog's just got the phone or something like that. Accidentally clicked the photo button. There's a pile-on. Gary Neville gets involved in the mixer, jumps on about 9 players. He then pretends to be furious again, but come on, mate.
But he looks furious until he then sees Wayne Rooney on like the left of the screen as we're looking at it, and all of a sudden he just stone-faced just jumps on him like he's in love with him, like he's not seen him in like years, and Wayne Rooney's come back from war or something.
And that goal was so late that there is pretty much nothing left.
England fans are singing their anthem. Don't take me home. They're home and dry today. It means everything. It's a win for St George and defeat for the Dragon. As England put themselves into first place in Group B, which is all set for a thrilling conclusion on Monday night. Martin Keogh and Robbie Savage, if you've got anything left. Well, listen, it was a gallant effort from the Welsh. They hung on for dear life. But in the end, that bit of quality quality. We said, didn't we, Sturridge probably the most naturally gifted striker sitting on the bench. Roy puts him on, and he wins it for England. Fantastic result in the end.
We've got nothing left.
There's nothing left, and it's England's turn to be smug.
Yes.
Oh, is there anything worse than a smug England like set of fans? It's brilliant to be part of, isn't it?
True. So we steal the Wales song.
Please don't take me home. Exactly after what happened in the first game, first half as well. And England collect the 3 points they desperately needed and go top of the group.
Yeah, there's a few lovely sights as well. We see a Wolves flag. I was looking at heavily, and I didn't even catch it. You did well to spot that. It took us until after the final whistle.
Mate, I am always looking for a Wolves flag to be here for Wolves Watch, and I'm proved right again. After X amount of podcasts, I've found about 4 so far.
Wolves Watch.
Wolverhampton, all right.
We get the Welsh fans. Some look absolutely gutted. There's one lad who seems to be taking it all quite well in his stride. I like his little. He looks like something from Family Guy.
Yeah, he's funny, and the guy in front of him looks like the picture from Mooms as well.
What do you think? What do you think the atmosphere would have been like in the crowd? Do you think it would have been Aggie or more rugby?
I don't know. This is such a big blow, isn't it? And the guy who's taking it in his stride, he has definitely seen that he was looking really glum, and then all of a sudden the camera cuts to him and he sees it. He's like, "Hey, I'm on TV!" And then everyone else around him, like he definitely like in like a pure football crowd, he just got a punch in the face for that as soon as the camera was off him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I want to see that crying man. You put him on screen before. I want to see him again.
Alan Shearer says, much better from England. Do you agree that it was compared to the Russia game? Obviously, we haven't discussed the Russia game in great length, but it's hard to be worse than that performance in a way. Really, like the Wales one.
Yeah,
I know
well,
we've
yeah.
won, but like,
Yeah,
come on, it wasn't good, was it?
England have won the wrong game.
Yeah.
They've won the wrong game there, and I don't think it was a much better performance as well. It's a better result, and I think that's the thing. When people look back on a lot of these things, they look for the result, not the performance. And, the result changes the performance because a lot of players could go from, oh, actually, I think they've, if you're using an American thing, all the players, let's say everyone was like a 7 or 8, and then a goal goes in and you go, well, actually, they've all gone down 1 and something else, and they've not won the game. Well, actually, their performance was for nothing. So, yeah, not a good one for me.
Yeah, I agree. Signing off, Guy Mowbray says, here's to both teams going through.
Shut up. that is very rugby as well, that isn't it? It's just like pathetic.
I imagine that I would have been saying the same thing, though, to be honest. Well done to them. It's patronising,
It's
isn't it?
massively patronising.
Yeah.
And as well, kind of, I remember around this period, because obviously it was a big thing for everyone who was Welsh. Like people I didn't know who were Welsh quickly made it very like prominent that they were Welsh. That was like the first thing they'd tell you, basically.
Well, we will look at the aftermath for England on another day. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's
That's a word for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think people remember England don't have a good tournament after this. Really, it's not their finest hour. But let's take a quick look at what Wales did for the rest of this tournament.
In the final game of the group, they would beat Russia 3-0, while a much changed England only drew 0-0 with Slovakia. Oh God, I don't remember that game.
It was a dreadful
0-0
game.
against Slovakia. Is that Algeria level? That's got to be level with that.
I think Hodgson did that weird thing where he decided he was going to change a load of the team because he knew that a point would like do for England. So I think both the fullbacks changed. I think the whole front three changed. I think Jack Wilshere may have even started it. And that game, I remember for everything, was just such a horrible blur watching it.
It's always shit as well, isn't it? When, like, say, let's have a look at the lineup. What do we get? You get Vardy starting, you get Sturridge, Henderson, Wilshere in there, and you think, right, and then they just come out with a nothing performance, and Jamie Vardy doesn't even get a goal, and you like can't even rely on him.
But like, what was the point of all those changes? I get like to give people a rest and all that kind of stuff, but I just think waste of an opportunity there, really, to win the group, to go through to a different part of the draw as well, because Wales go through as group winners, and they play Northern Ireland next, another derby.
God, that would have been... It's like the home nations, isn't it? Euro 2016, yeah. Well done. How did they get on against Northern Ireland?
Wales win 1-0 and went through to the quarterfinals.
That's incredible.
Yeah, amazing.
That is
I'm
incredible.
pretty sure it was from an own goal from an Irish player in a dog shit game.
Yeah.
But like, it's just with that thing, again, Wales are through and they're through to a quarterfinal for the first time, like in so long. It's just amazing.
I mean, we're not going to discuss whether England joined them at that stage because we'll get to that another day. They are drawn against Belgium.
And that was where the dream was set to end. And
Yeah.
they'd spent the last 2 qualifying campaigns playing against Belgium as well and getting good results. But it felt like, yeah, this is where the big boys play now, isn't it?
Yeah, always favourites for every tournament. Belgium
Yeah.
for like the last 8 years or so. Always number 1 of the world rankings and shit like that.
And this is kind of the start of that, of looking into this and going, yeah, actually, they're going to be the team to beat. They're the one that are going to sweep Wales aside, but it doesn't happen.
I didn't watch this game because I was so sure that it would just be a Belgium.
Yeah.
Not that I was like, oh, I don't want to watch it because I'm sure Belgium are going to win, but it was like, I've kind of got someone else to do.
Yeah.
Am I going to sack that off to watch Wales Belgium when it's just going to be like 2 or 3-0 to Belgium?
See, I was at my own leaving do from a work I was leaving, and none of us watched it. Unfortunately, we were at like the meal, and there was 2 people that came. One was Belgian and one was Welsh, and they were together as a couple. And just in the background, I just heard one of them just screech, basically, because the game goes 3-1 to Wales, and it's seen as one of the biggest upsets in recent tournament history.
Yeah.
And Hal Robson-Kanu helped himself to one of the most memorable tournament goals, again,
Of
in
all
recent
time.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. The goal he comes off, it's one of those where Robbie Savage would be like, if that was Messi, we'd never stop talking about it. It's like, well, it's Hal Robson-Kanu, and we're still talking about it.
It's true. It's true. He had no club at that time, did he, as well? He was playing for Wales in an international quarter-final, scoring at such a memorable goal, but didn't have anywhere to go after. Did his CV some good?
Yeah, I think he may have. I want to say he signed for West Brom.
I think
but,
he did sign for
not
West
like the
Brom.
most glamourable clubs in the world, but still a thing of like brilliant. That's, you've essentially got yourself a Premier League club at the time. I think there were 2. Didn't think he did amazing there, but
No.
a guy without a club like having such an impact in a big game is incredible.
Oh, amazing. I'm sure for Welsh fans, that is the one of the most amazing nights and made this loss against England seem not so bad.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the semi-finals is where it ends. They play Portugal, and the ultimate heel, Cristiano Ronaldo, puts them back in their rightful place.
Yeah, and it was such a shit game from memory as well. Of like Ronaldo had 2 chances, he scored them both, and Wales just couldn't really lay a glove on them really either.
Yeah, shame, but what an incredible story for Wales and what an incredible journey. The fact that they didn't just turn up at Euro 2016 and meekly bow out in the group stage, even with the loss to England, they made sure they got the results elsewhere, and that whatever happened against England, obviously they weren't to know at the time, but by their own will, it just meant that whatever happened against England wasn't the be-all and end-all, and it wouldn't end like that.
And it seems also with this game where it was like, okay, we've had our fun. Oh, bugger, back down to earth. Okay, we try and get out the group, and we see that. And then after this game, if you say one of these teams is going to the semi-finals, you probably go, well, these are both terrible teams. You shouldn't think about that. But for Wales to get to the semi-finals is an amazing achievement.
Absolutely. There's not much else to say, really. We have said a lot. We've seen so much. We've discussed so much. Was this England, Nick?
At the time, all I wanted was a moment from an England team, and this was kind of that moment. This is all I wanted once every 2 or 4 years of England doing something which made me go, fucking yes, this team, it's something to get behind the national side and be happy about them. So to me, this was it, but so it wasn't England, but it's what I needed really at this point.
I'm kind of torn because I think it's England in the sense that it's a win that means a lot, but also that it doesn't mean anything in terms of the tournament. England off this are not going on to any sort of great performance in Euro 2016.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they pulled it off with a late comeback isn't England. I'm going to say it's not. And I do agree, it's what I needed.
Yeah.
We all needed it after such a shit 2016, but or right in the middle of a shit 2016, to be fair.
Still to come.
And still to come in real time, in the real world.
Yeah.
We've got another one, the World Cup. And I've mentioned it a few times, but that's very exciting, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if are Wales better now? Gareth Bale isn't as good now as he was then.
I think they've got maybe other parts that are better. Whether you say as a whole team they weren't, it's so hard to know. Is it Gareth Bale isn't the player he was back then, but he's still it's like one last ride for Bale, isn't it? You feel like this is probably the last time he'll play for Wales?
Rob Page is the manager.
Yes, he is, and he did really well to kind of take over. And I think they did well at the World Cup, the Euros from memory. They got out of the group,
Yeah.
so they have got a good side. But this is again, it's kind of irrelevant when they play England what their team looks like.
Well, there's not long to go now, listeners, until the World Cup. So hopefully this will keep you occupied and get you pumped up for the big game when it does arrive. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll speak to you all soon.
You may be a stranger. That's what time